So before we start, I feel like I need to give everyone a little bit of a heads up about this one because it can be a little bit sensitive. When Jim and I first discussed doing this podcast, he was very keen to be 100% truthful and do a warts and all podcast. And boy, oh boy, does he. There's absolutely no topic that gets left off the table, from talking about what's wrong with the bike industry to mental health, drug addiction, alcohol abuse, and all that sort of stuff. So it became apparent to me whilst I was editing this that actually there'll be people that are watching this that might be going through a hard time. And so I think, to be responsible, in the description and in the show notes, I will leave some contact telephone numbers. So if you are going through a hard time at the minute and you are struggling, there are some links below, or there'll be somewhere that you can click and you can make a phone call and you can have a chat with somebody. Likewise, this is my personal advice and my personal belief. If you are going through a hard time, get your bike and go for a bike ride. Go in the woods and just ride it out. I know sometimes it's really hard to pick yourself up and put your helmet on and put your gear on and go for a ride, but just do it. I 100% believe that you will feel better. And if you see myself or Jim whilst you're riding around in the woods, come and say hello. We'll more than happily ride with you. We'll more than happily go for a cup of tea or a coffee, and you can tell us how you're feeling. Honestly, I 100% agree with that, and I know Jim will too. With that said, this one is a doozy. He does reveal all. There is no topic left unturned. It is a long one. Go and make yourself a cup of tea. Get yourself some biscuits, because this is Jim Buchanan from Pin TV, episode 3.
Always do a little start to. I don't do an intro or anything like that, but I've asked the same question just because I find it interesting to start with. Is, in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
Okay. Right.
Go on.
Are we filming?
Yeah,
we're on it now.
Yeah.
Okay, who am I? I'll start with, I'm definitely not an ex-pro, which some of my viewers think. I like to get that out there straight away because I don't ever want people thinking I'm pretending to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
I am a landscaper, horticulturalist, tree surgeon who also rides bikes and makes films. Well, I say films, makes vlogs.
Yeah.
For YouTube, and I guess I've sort of learnt to work media and to work sponsorship over the years, having worked in magazines and stuff like that, to my advantage. Kind of don't like to pay for things.
It's not on the same. It's well, you are paying for it, but you pay for it with your time, and the quality of the stuff you produce. There's a symbiotic relationship, isn't it? The brands get some out of it, you get some out of it.
Well, that's it. I've had shit over the years off mates taking the piss, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, can I have one of them? You didn't pay for it." And I'm like, well, I did pay for it. I put a lot of time and effort into videos and promotion and blah, blah, blah. They don't put
themselves out there,
they don't realise what's behind the scenes. They don't realise how many emails you're sending out to get that one product.
Oh, I know, how many people you're working with and how many brand managers and marketing people you speak to. I know what you mean. I'm rubbish at that side of it. Yeah. And I try and do more. And you drop on some people that you get like really good relationships with, and they just go, "Yeah, I'll send you some stuff and things." But it is a tricky one. But they don't see, like you say, the filming, the editing, all the other work, which it sounds like, but it takes up a lot of your time. But also just the fact that you're putting your face out there. Yeah. The comments, people will always be like, "Oh God." Yeah. You know, the amount of people of why you done that, the amount of times what did you show that trail for, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, oh God, the trail thing. But going back to who am I, sum it up, I'm a friendly fuck up with a very odd past in certain ways. I've done all sorts of weird ventures, and I'm just basically trying to be happy now. That's my main thing. Just try and be happy more than anything else.
I think I can agree with that.
Content.
I always find it interesting because I think how people kind of see themselves. That's why I say I found it's quite interesting that you go about the landscape and stuff, because you've never shied away from that. I know a lot of people that do what we do.
They'll hide their real job.
And they'll hide the fact that they've got a job. Yeah. And some people said to me before now, it's like, "Oh, I thought this was your full-time job." And I'm like, no, I've got another job that actually has to pay the bills, and Monday to Friday. And then I think people then almost go, "God, you've generally grafted because you're working all week, and then you still," because people look at the content and it's like, God, you must be doing this every
Well, a lot
day.
of people do the whole sort of fake it to make it, don't they? Where they'll pretend this is their full-time job. And I'm like, well, I don't really care. I'm too long in the tooth to worry about that. If Pinned, even now, if Pinned ended up being like full-time, brilliant.
Great, wouldn't it?
I'd love it. But
I'd love it to be full-time. It's trying to play the whole YouTube algorithm things. Like, I'm at the stage now where, do I want to make the stuff that I want to make, or do I play to the game, but then I don't enjoy that as much?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then that's the way you've got to make videos that are like this, or like, and because it's always changing, isn't it? Like 5 years ago, we had to make a certain type of video. Well, this type of video.
The last time, it's probably too early to get into this part of life, but this part of the conversation. But the last time I kind of played to the game and did the right thing was filming during COVID.
Oh, really?
And now I look back at those edits and they're embarrassing.
Oh, really?
You know, how to do a safe ride or filming stuff around the house when I didn't, agree with any of that bollocks.
But we all got sucked in a little bit with that.
Oh, God, mate, the comments in those days.
Really?
You're being dangerous. And I'm like riding around the house, silly stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously knowing what I think I know now, it was just all a load of bollocks. We should have
I
carried on.
think a lot of people know now. I think the evidence has come out. It still makes me laugh when you still see people. And look, if you want to wear a mask, if that suits your anxiety, it's fine.
If you're mentally
ill.
But
you get some people. But you do get some people that are like, they look at you going, it's middle of summer and it's like they're wearing a mask and
think
stuff.
Brainwashed and basically brain damaged from what they've been told and scared.
Without getting political.
Yeah.
Certain politicians like Trump didn't help this because he was so bombastic, even though like a broken clock can be right twice a day sort of thing. And in that instance he was, when he was going on about China and Wuhan and all that. China.
I always think that now. Whenever you say China, you go to China.
But he almost, if he hadn't been president, that'd been Obama, and he said it was China, we'd have all gone, this is a Chinese lab thing. And it's mad, isn't it? Like, but there's a lot of cultural stuff going on at the minute. I think everyone's so it's weird, isn't it? Because it's all kind of gone full circle now. With like I was listening to a podcast the other day about climate change and Greta Thunberg, and now how much misinformation we know about climate change, and now Greta Thunberg's moved on to Palestine, and without getting it's gone real political straight off the bat. But do you know what I mean? There's always something, and I'm just like, I just want to ride my bike in the woods. I'm switched off to it all now. I'm
very interested politically.
Yeah,
I do. I listen to a lot of stuff. I'd say, if you were to say, where are you? I'd say I am where nobody is, which is in the middle.
Yeah,
and where's your middle parties?
I use like homeless. The word, like I'm politically homeless.
Yeah, and it's really like it's for me. It's like, why is there no sensible option of like, you can go right over to the left with all the trans stuff and the that kind of thing.
I just realised I didn't. Yeah, carry on, mate. I just realised I didn't press that one. It's all right.
That's all right.
I'm just making sure everything's still. I was getting paranoid, but yeah, you
can go over far over to the far left, and then you got the far right, which is like the fascisty type stuff, and middle's about right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but you can't just sort of say middle. You've got to have a tribe.
You've got to be a box. Yeah. That sort of thing where your parents were like, they're always Tory or always Labour.
Yeah.
That's just gone.
Yeah.
Like, you just think... I think what's a lot of exposed now, which social media is good and bad, because on one side, I think social media has created this divisiveness. So everyone's in these tribes, and if you're not on this football team, it's just like offside rule in football, isn't it? You can have an offside decision, and both teams will argue black and blue that their team was right or wrong.
Yeah.
And it's very like that footballification of it all. But it feels like to me the other side of it is that social media's done is exposed that all these politicians don't absolutely fuck all.
I don't think there's such a thing as an honest politician.
Yeah.
I think they're all out for themselves, and they're all just saying the bullet points.
Yeah.
If you look at like Lowe, you look at Farage, and then you look at the other sides, they're just saying the things that will get them the votes. And I personally think as soon as they get in, whoever it is, I've got this little saying I heard recently I think is fantastic, which is whoever you vote for, the government always gets in. And as soon as they're in, I think they go in this little meeting with the big guys like the pharmaceuticals, like the neocons and all they go, no, I know you said this to get elected. Look at Trump. No more wars.
I think it's the system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the civil service and all that. I just think actually the system, and that's the system of politics as well, is the fact that it's like they say all those things, but it's just it's the game. In order for them to stay in a job, they've got to say the right things, do the right things. I was talking to Si last night actually, and we were talking about I won't say what we were talking about because I think it's an industry thing, but we were talking about sort of like certain things are going on in the industry, and decisions certain people are making, and he said I don't understand why they've gone that direction, not this direction, and I said because that direction is a safe bet. What option A they're never going to get fired for, because everyone's going to go, of course you'd go that way, but actually that bit of common sense of going, actually that probably wasn't the right decision to do. We'll go with option B, but option B doesn't seem like the obvious choice, but no one's got that ability to go, actually this isn't working. And that's what politics is like now. It's like these are the things you say and nobody will go against the grain, because if it goes wrong and you go against the grain, and it's almost like Boris and all that, go back to the COVID thing, when you look back, he was always going to say wear masks, do this, do that, because the alternative was if he went and said, oh, that's a load of rubbish, and then it turned out it was wrong, and
then people started dying because of his decisions.
So he's always going to go one way, and actually, then it's just that everyone always takes the safe option.
Yeah,
and I think that's a human nature thing, and I think there's only certain. I think a lot of mountain bikers are like this because we're the bastard child of British cycling, aren't we? We go against the grain. The whole sport came.
Well, I'm very conspiratorial, which all started in COVID, and now I'm like. Everything I listen to, don't believe it. I can go too far with it sometimes.
Yeah, I had friends that were like flat earthers and stuff like that, and I can't do that.
That's a step too far.
And I just kind of go.
But open mind on everything.
An open mind and just a general distrust of everything. I read something now and I go, oh, that seems interesting. Probably realise it's wrong in 5 years.
It's a bit like you going back to social media. You watch all these videos and you're like. Nowadays, I just like, that's bollocks. And what I do now is if I've got any doubt or if I'm shocked, I will copy paste that video into AI.
Yeah.
And that's where AI is your friend. And you say, is this an AI video? And it'll tell you.
Yeah.
It'll say, oh, it's got a watermark or it's judging by our whatever.
Well, they can see in the data, can't they? In the what's the word up there? The sort of the background data. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
Come to me in a minute, but it's interesting. So let's go back to biking a slightly.
Okay.
Thing, I knew this was going to happen.
Well, we put the world to rights.
Well, this is why I've been looking forward to this one, because, like I say, I've done a few of these now, and it's all industry people.
Yeah.
Dan White was great because he's quite chatty, and Tom was really good, but Tom was very much an engineer. So you're the first like YouTuber, media person. So it's kind of like.
Yeah,
it's just like I knew you just like switch on, go. You know, you don't warming up, you don't worry about giving an answer and stuff. But we talked about, you said at the beginning, so we talked about who you were. You're not afraid to hide the fact that you're the landscape and all the job. But you also talked about did stuff for the mags and stuff. So you used to write, didn't you, for Dirt?
Yeah. So
how did the writing start then?
I got into mountain biking in about probably 95.
Yeah.
Just got a cheap, I think it was a Saracen, something like that.
That's later than I thought it would be for you. I thought you'd.
Yeah, well, I'm old.
Yeah,
I'm 55 now, but I've done everything in life late. Everything I've done.
You'd have been like in your mid-20s then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 55 now, and I'm now seriously into training, and I'm in better shape than I've ever been in.
Well, we'll get on.
And I'm not trying to big myself up. I'm just saying I do everything late. I should have been doing that when I was 30.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, so I started riding. Just a mate said, "Oh, you try the mountain biking," and the reason being. 24, 25 is the age where I flipped what I wanted to be, because before 24 I did a lot of traveling for a few years, but I wasn't a very good person in those days. I was, I got in a lot of trouble. I was into drugs. I was into, you know, I was...
Well, it was the 90s, wasn't it? I think there was a level of
mate,
partied and stuff.
I wouldn't say I was a gangster, far from it, but I was definitely a criminal back in those days.
Really? Okay.
I was into a lot of things you shouldn't have been doing, which I am, I'll just say I'm a reformed character, and I don't agree with all that.
Was there like a rock bottom moment then, or was there just like a general, like, if I carry on going this way?
Yeah, I mean, I was out party drugging, I was doing the raving a lot for years, and obviously to support that I'd like be flogging the things that people wanted to go raving.
Yeah.
And I think probably the worst bit, other than, which we'll get into later, my divorce and stuff a year or so ago.
Yeah, of course.
Mentally, probably the worst I was about, when would it be? Early 90s, got back from, I think I'd been to America for 5 months. I literally just disappeared to America.
Right.
And I had nowhere to live. My mum wouldn't have me. I remember I slept in a woodland under a rhododendron for a week.
Wow.
Then I slept in my mum's greenhouse for a month without her knowing. I'd just sneak in there at night and just kip on the floor. Partly my own fault for being such a dickhead, you know.
Yeah.
They sort of disowned me. But then the thing with my son and my daughter is, I've always said I'll never be like that with my kids. Whatever they do, they'll always be welcome.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing of not being welcome.
My parents were the same. My parents were very anti-drugs and stuff like that.
Mine were,
and so when they found out the sort of things I used to get up to, they just couldn't fathom it. It was that whole like
that's all I look forward to. Weekends, taking loads of pills, loads of powders, going raving, like losing my mind. But the trouble with me is the more I lost my mind, the more I liked it. So I get in these right states.
Yeah.
And then, you know, at one point I was like, I need to sort my fucking life out. What am I doing? I get arrested for this and that and the other, and I'd spend weekends in cells.
I was a bit of a knob, and I would get pissed up and then get into scraps and stuff like that.
I didn't scrap so much, really. I did, I've always sort of, I did it in the ring. You know, I used to do Thai boxing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was always been no matter what I did, I've always been this sort of comedy guy. I like to make everyone laugh, and that's how I'd avoid fighting, I guess. And I used to know a lot of the nutters, although I did get, I think one of the crescendos is when I was like in my worst days, I decided in Market Drayton, this little village town,
I know Market Drayton,
to pick a fight with like the hardest drug dealer.
Oh really?
To see if I was like one of them. And I remember it so well. His name was Jimmy, and we could talk about it now. We could have a drink and have a laugh about it. And he was a dealer, and he'd been making up all this shit about me, and I got arrested for, I had a load of stolen cover notes for insurance that I was flogging and stuff. I was such a dick. I'm not condoning this, by the way.
No.
You know, it's like, I look back and it's like I'm a totally different person. But I went in the pub, and I knew he was hard as nails, and I'm like picking a fight with him. You said this, and he goes, look, Jim, you don't want to do this. And I wasn't a fighter, and I was probably off my head when I did it. Well, I know I was. And he was like, you sure? I was like, yeah, come on, outside and all this, thinking that, you know, thinking it'll be all right. It won't go too far. And then when we went outside, he's like, not here. No, let's go down this alleyway. And inside my head, I'm thinking, oh, bollocks.
Yeah.
And he basically beat the shit out of me, not unconscious. I had... when you knock yourself out, what's it called? I've forgotten the name. Concussion. And but afterwards, he sort of picked me up and said, should we go for a pint? And I realised, I'm not a scrapper, really. I don't mind doing it in the ring and stuff, but not that sort of fight.
So I say I got into a few scraps, but I was always, because I was a bell end. So I'd be a bell end, and I'd be out, and I'd probably be like chatting up some guy's girl. I was a proper ladies man and stuff. I was a bit of a womanizer, I suppose is the word. Like nowadays, you look back and you think, like, I've got a daughter, and it's so mad, isn't it? When you become a father to a girl, all of a sudden, like, those ways change.
Yes.
But obviously, times were different. But you'd go out on the pull, and I'd just get myself into bother. I remember I used to get myself into bother in Oswestry Street. We used to go, like, Knapmore Quarry, racing, and then you go into Oswestry Street on a night out, and I'd end up, like, you know, calling everyone sheep shaggers and this and the other, and just being generally a knob. And then you end up getting, like, when I say get into a scrap, usually someone, you know, starting on me, and I'll be like, whatever. And then, and then there was a couple of times where Yeah, a bit too pissed. Ended up in Shrewsbury Nick.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then I had the embarrassment, like none of your mates want to come and get you the next day. They're all racing.
Yeah.
So they've got to drive all the way from Nantwar back to Shrewsbury, back to me to get my car. And it was like, yeah.
Yeah, the coppers used to trick me, and they'd say that I've had this a few times in the old days. They'd say, oh, you just need to come and sign something. And it'd be a Friday, and I'd turn up on a Friday, and they said, actually, there's a warrant for you. And then they had to spend the whole weekend in the cells.
Wow.
And you're just counting bricks for 2 days. And like, that was an old trick they used to do to sort of mentally break you down a bit.
Yeah, you become known. You're obviously quite well known. So I never kind of was that. I was just a bit of a naughty lad.
Yeah.
Did a bit of this, that, and the other. But like, going back to some parents, that's why I'm with my daughter now. I'm so relaxed about things. We talk openly about drugs.
Same with me and the kids, yeah.
Because she'll come to me when she does anything and things like
brilliant.
that. Because my parent, I can never go to my parent. And that was half the problem. Yeah. Never been able to say to your parents, actually.
Were your parents together?
Yeah.
So mine split up when I don't even remember. My mum's, she died, but before she died, she'd had 3 different husbands.
Oh, really?
They'd all died. Oh, well, she divorced my dad. Then I had a stepdad, and he was a little bit abusive, and then she got rid of him. And I remember those days of like having private detectives over, and this is the 80s, right? Private detective used to come. We had this big house. I mean, I was quite privileged when I was young. We lived in a very big house, plenty of money. I went to boarding school, all that.
My friend was the same.
And they used to have these wood panels in the kitchen, and they had a secret hatch, and there was a phone. Listening in on the phone calls.
Oh, really?
And this private detective used to listen to, and my mum used to listen to hours of my stepdad when she was trying to divorce him because she was sure he'd nicked her watch or something like that. Yeah, it's really... Wow. So anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. So, I was a messed up kid.
Yeah.
And then in my 20s, I was like, I needed something to focus on, and I was like, what can I do? And I tried the mountain bike. This is great. And as soon as you get on the bike, you're like... You forget about all this stuff, and it's just.
So was that like? Do you think the wild times were like a trauma type response to just like all the shit that?
Yeah, I was quite. Kid? I don't want to be trying to get sympathy because I never have.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're not like a victim.
I was. I'd say, if I wanted to put it one way, the one thing with my kids, I made sure they've always got loads of love.
Yeah.
If you're ignored and if you're not wanted, boarding school. I know.
You know what? My friend's exactly the same. He went to boarding school, and it's interesting that one that was quite famous, where the headmaster took his own life because there was a lot of child abuse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he had about half a dozen of his schoolmates like hang themselves because they couldn't take all of it because the bullying and the cultures and the things that were going on with the older lads and all that sort of stuff, the buggering and everything. He said it was, and I said, did it happen to you? And he admitted, he goes, no, it didn't happen to me. It didn't happen to me. Sometimes I wonder because there's a few times he's a bit, but he said, there was a few times you just see you'd come in and the lad would be hanging in the greenhouse or in the rafters or whatever, a bit like Borsal, that film or something.
Yeah, I can see how it was done because. This is as close as to it as I got, is years after I left this prep school called Yarlett Hall. I left. I had a plan and I got expelled.
Right, got you.
Though I heard there was a big paedophile ring there, or not ring, paedophile problem with a guy who was a geography teacher, and he was my favourite teacher. I remember thinking he was my favourite teacher, absolutely cool, got the coolest one of the lot.
Yeah.
And that's how, I'm guessing, that's how they get them, but I never had any issues.
He's probably always grooming.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, she works in that sort of sector, and I'm a BMX coach. I do like BMX coaching now and all the BC stuff, and we've done safeguarding. And in the last few years, in the region, we've had a few serious situations, and it's blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because of they're always the nicest. That's just how they are. Yeah. They can't help it. But then from the moment they meet someone, they start the grooming straight away, and it's just like constantly putting the things out. But yeah, he went to boarding school, and I forget now, but it was like a proper. Like, what was the movie with the prison? Shawshank Redemption type moment where the police literally turned up one day and he locked himself in the office and took his own life because he knew what was coming, sort of thing. It was a proper one of those. But
that's nuts.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I forget what the name of the place was now, but I remember googling it. It was in all the press and in the main papers and stuff like that. But no, it's So you went from you got into the biking.
Yeah, and then
Do you think there's a neurodiverse side of it as well? Because that's what's for me. There's like hang on, as long as I'm riding my bike,
to focus on
everything.
And that's when I started riding. I started riding really at a local mate, and then it was a Shropshire mid-wheelers or whatever they're called. And that's where I met Stu Hughes.
Yes.
I remember there was an organised ride here at Eastridge. It would be 95, 96. And I remember going up this hill and Stu Hughes is alongside me on the back wheel all the way up this hill, just chatting to me like it was nothing. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? How can he do that? And he ended up being like one of my Bazzy mates.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he said, you should come and do a race. I can't remember the first one. It might have been Hawkston Folly or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But the first time I went downhill in, which it kind of was classed in them days, was with Scott Beaumont and Pete Crump. Over your way. I think it was like Stourbridge or somewhere like that. It was a sandy track.
Yes, it was like Ribbersford, Stourbridge.
It was Ribbersford, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was real good fun. I was like, this is mint. And Stu was like, do you want to do a race? And I was like, yeah. And we started doing it. And, I'd do well to get halfway up the seniors at them days.
Of course, yeah.
But once we got into the racing a little bit and I was doing it a bit more regular, I was like, Dirt magazine was out. And I was like, no one's writing on the regional races, it's just nationals.
Okay.
So I just approached him and said, do you want some articles on it?
Cool.
And they were like, yeah, all right, can you write? I was like, well, we'll have a go. And although I was a fuck up at school, my high point was always English. I was always quite good with grammar and stuff, and I could tell a story. So I used to tell these race reports like a story, but the BCF, it was called then, British Cycling,
the old BCF,
they fucking hated me in them days because every track was so pedally.
It was shit,
wasn't it? And I would moan like fuck. I'd be like, another pedally shit track, but, and then...
there'd always be like a really good track, and then BC would come along and go, actually, we need to finish in this field, we need the gantry.
Yeah, so you got like a 200-metre sprint at the end.
Yeah.
And you'd have people like Rob Warner going fucking nuts.
It's
brilliant.
It was brilliant.
And I'd always get words off people like Warner for the articles. And word for word. A lot of the stuff then, I probably couldn't get away with it now.
It was mad. So that would have been the 4130 publishing days of Dirt.
Yeah, that's
so you'd
right.
have been the Nobles.
Yeah, Mark Noble. Yeah, he was like the gaffer. And then Mike Rose come along. Mike Rose, who then became senior editor.
Yeah.
Originally, he was Stu Hughes' business partner, landscaping.
Oh, really?
And he got into a bit of photography, and he says, I wouldn't mind coming along to a race. And then it went from there.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in years, but he really did sort of grow Dirt.
It's a similar sort of thing. So where you kind of did the writing, I did the same sort of stuff, similar sort of time period. I started a little bit earlier than you, so it would have been around about the same time, mid-90s. Started racing in I did remember the Diamondback Junior series.
Yeah.
Doing that in the early 90s and stuff. And then realising the race career wasn't going to go the way I wanted to. So by the time I was like in my 20s, started taking pictures. And actually, I can remember being at probably here actually, at Eastridge or somewhere like that, these races. And there'd be all these old boy photographers with their film cameras. We all had film. And I'd get the shots and I'd always get like the crash when it was happening. And I'd realise, knowing the subject, was 90% of it. Like anyone, you don't have to take the most amazing photo. I could get away with a half decent one, but I would spot, you'd be coming down and I'm like, Jim's off his line. He's going to hit that tree. And all the other photographers had no idea, but I'd thinking he's took the wrong, because I was a racer. Yeah, so a rider would come down and I'd instantly go, they're going to crash in 2 corners time, because I could already see body language has gone, the weight's different.
That makes a lot of sense.
But you do when you're watching somebody, you spot a crash before often the crowd.
When you look at the top photographers in the World Cup, like Ben Martin and people like they're all ex-racers. So that makes a lot of sense.
You always know where the thing, and that's what it was almost like a sixth sense, but it wasn't. You watch next time you're just at a race and you're watching people coming down a line. Next time someone is out of it, you'll notice, and you'll do this at a race. You'll go, you almost go, and something's going to happen. Yeah. And then about 5 seconds, 10 seconds later,
good photographer will get the camera straight up.
But you're ready for it. You know where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the other photographers are reacting where you're anticipating sort of thing. And so you'd get these, and the amount of people go, oh my God, you got the crash. And I can remember getting in trouble as well, because sometimes they'll be on the deck, air, oxygen, all that sort of stuff. And the medics would be giving me a bollocking, like saying it was so, what's the word, like insensitive. What are you taking pictures for? But I also knew the lad that's on the deck's going to want these photos.
Yeah, and you look at it nowadays, everyone's filming absolutely everything without a care in the world, without helping the person as well. So yeah, I mean, I was doing that, and then I do more and more to the point with dirt where I think some of the best ones. I did a hit the North road trip once where we went up north and met loads of people, stayed at PEs, this, that, and the other, and I filled half the magazine with my stuff.
Wow!
And I used to get so excited for the mag when it would come out. I'd be like, "What's on it?" And occasionally I'd get something on the cover, not be like a photo of me or a photo of something I've done.
Yeah.
Not a big cover shot, just a little one.
Yeah.
And it'd be something that we were involved in. And it was so exciting. Then I did a little bit for NB UK.
Yeah.
I remember my first big article I did for them when it was Tim Manley, I think.
Right.
The ex-porn guy. He was the editor. Got the most complaints ever out of an article, which I always thought was amazing, because people used to write in with the complaints.
Yeah, well, this is it, wasn't it?
And it was called Confessions of a Downhiller, and it was me and Stu. It was about our life, how we go do these downhill races, and it was then when it was mixed with cross country. Oh, we hated the cross country.
Of course, yeah.
A load of bloody just took it too
I
seriously.
used to always turn up on the wrong day.
Yeah, and I'd
look up. Oh, when's the race? The race is this weekend. I'd get there and I'd go, no, the downhill race was yesterday, mate. And I was like, for fuck's sake.
So I'm like ripping the cross country guys, saying how serious they are and that they're on the static bikes, blah. And I don't think like that now. I've got big respect for them, but it was just all part of it. It was a bravado, wasn't it?
We used to take the mick out of roadies and mick out. I can remember, like, we were going back to naughty days. It was so silly. We'd drive into a downhill race with like a truck and a load of downhill bikes, and I'd be throwing the sauce pots from the McDonald's out the window at the roadies on the road riding in the morning.
It was all
and taking
about
the piss and
dicks, wasn't it?
and we were filming it and taking pictures. It was almost, we thought, you think you're hilarious,
but all that's gone now. All that sort of rebelliousness. I think it's one of the troubles in life now with the world is rebelliousness is sort of going out of the kids. They're all too conformist. It's like the woke thing, and it's just I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
I think it's coming full circle, though. I look at our Lily's generation. Really she's 16, 17, and she's almost like
Todd's far from woke, really, which is great.
Maybe it's a parent thing as well. Yeah. So the dirt. How long were we at dirt for?
I think I started about 96 and I finished in 2001.
So would you just saw the transition after 4130 then? Were you still going?
No, I was with I think it was
the Nobles.
And then once it went online, it went tits up. It was full of adverts.
Gunnar did his stuff with it, and Gunnar didn't. He got involved with it afterwards.
Once I left, I didn't pay much attention, and it was going online, which personally I didn't like at the time. No. But then, having said that, I ended up coming back to it all after a spate of motorbikeing. Yeah, because of the first big online magazine, which was Enduro Mag from Germany.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like I remember you sort of around 2014-15 would have been Enduro Mag. Yeah, you've been doing it then, sort of thing, and you had the van and everything with it all written on the side. Didn't you?
So
was that German Mag?
If you want to say how we got to that, if I can sum it up quite quickly. So Dirt Magazine doing really well. Got into products.
Yeah. I suppose that gave you access to a lot
it's
of
amazing.
people.
As soon as you go, hang on a minute, I can get all this stuff for nothing and just talk about it. And I was like, this is brilliant. Yeah. So I was doing product reviews and I'd always have bikes. I'd have all the best kit. I'd go racing. The last time I was racing in 2001, I was sponsored by Stendek. Dave, who passed away, unfortunately, lovely guy. Dave Garland, and I was on a Giant. I had all the best suspension, blah blah blah, and I'd had enough of it. I was overdoing it, and I remember going to a race one morning at 6 a.m. I think I was going to a Welsh Dragon.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't even want to fucking do this, and I drove about half an hour, and I turned round, right, and I went back home, and I phoned up Dave. I said, mate, I'm not into this anymore. I have the bikes back, and do you remember Slater? Paul Slater, he's from over your way. He's a really good racer in the Masters, in my category, very fast, no support. And I said, give my deal to him. So, because he needs it, he's blah, blah, blah. And I stopped overnight, stopped racing, stopped riding. And then I got into mini bikes, motorbikes, raced enduro, hare scrambles, did quite well, just about got in the experts. But it was so fucking expensive, mate, honestly, doing all that. And
I suppose you're starting again from scratch because you haven't got the contacts. I mean, I suppose there's a lot of people.
And I could not work that the same as I work mountain biking.
Really?
I could get discounts and a bit of help, but no, nothing. And then 2001, 2011, Enduro came along, started being a big thing. And obviously I was racing Enduro motorbikes and it got my attention. I was like, oh, this is kind of what I do, but back on mountain bikes. I wonder. And I got in touch with Dan Brown, who runs the Athertons GT at the time. I was like, can you get us a bike cheap? And he did. And then I did, my first race was here. So I got a bike, literally booked into a race 3 weeks later. I thought, how hard can it be? Went and blagged a set of brand new prototype Continental super tacky tyres off the Athertons, thinking I'll have a massive advantage with them. They're fucking awful. You want to try riding uphill on them?
Yeah, of course.
Ruined me.
And was this been the early enduro days when they were like timing the uphills properly?
No, but you still had to be there at a certain time.
You'd have your time slot.
Had to drop a minute, and I remember, it fucking ruined me. And I had a lot to learn, but I loved it, and I was like, I'm going to get into this.
It was later when they relaxed it a lot more.
Yes,
it was only like the EWS and Tweedledum and stuff when they'd start doing the time slot. And then they started bringing in the mashup and all that sort of stuff, didn't they?
Yeah,
Charlie did and everything. It was like a much more relaxed format.
Mashups are ace. So, at that point, I was like, is there any magazines that are Enduro? And I just put it in Enduro Mag. So, what's this? A German magazine, online, growing super fast, very high tech. So I approached them saying, can I do an article for you? And they said, well, what can you do? I said, well, I know Dan Atherton, I'm doing an interview. And he was like the number one guy.
Of course, at
the time. And they were like, I think they thought I couldn't do it.
Right, okay.
Whatever, okay. And I did it a week later, and they're like, oh, right, this is really good.
You've got that CV of Dirt Mag. Surely you'd go, well, I wrote for Dirt Mag for, that's like world renowned,
exactly.
Isn't it? You'd think it would.
Yeah, well, that did help. And then I started doing stuff for them and articles and riding articles and product stuff and adventure stuff. And I was on like a retainer. They do things different to UK Mags. So you'd be on I think it was something like €500 a month just to write for them.
Right.
Although at the one time I wrote for another magazine under a pseudonym, just for a bit of a laugh. I think that was Jamie at Wide Open, and I wrote an article under the name Harvey Mushman, which was Steve McQueen's pseudonym race name when he used to race motorbikes in the 70s. So I got into that, and I was enjoying that. I'd go away with them a lot, different countries, doing that Design Innovation Award. But working for the Germans, it's hard because they're so meticulous.
Yeah, so I've worked with a few German companies, and dealing with them is very, very different. Yeah. Very different. Very different culturally.
Dot the I's, cross the T's perfectly. Oh, and I'd send my articles off, and Trev, who I'm still mates with, who was like the English head sort of, what would you call him? Head editor or senior editor.
Yeah.
UK senior editor. I'll get there in the end. He used to send it back like a teacher with all red marks underlined, like, you got this wrong, got that, and I had to change it and then send it back again.
Oh, really?
And at that point, probably 2014, 15, I started to notice YouTube a bit more, and people would go and do a bit of that. And I'd go away with a local mate called Doc Ward, who's a photographer.
Doc,
and Doc would be like...
He does all motorbike stuff now, doesn't he?
Yeah. And he said, you should do some vlogging. I was like, what the fuck's vlogging? And he told me, because you can borrow my GoPro and I'll edit it for you.
Okay.
So I started doing that. Called it, this is 2016. I called it MTB Vlogs.
Right.
And that was the start of Pinned. I started doing that, and when I was away with the magazines, I'd be filming as well.
Yeah, sure.
Odds and sods. And
I think we started around about the same time, weren't it?
Yeah. And we were very early, really, weren't we?
Compared
to now.
Yeah, compared to now.
And
I've kind of gone off and come back and I do things, and you know, well, I've always kind of do a few bits, but like
I've kept it consistent.
You've been very consistent.
It amazes me when I think about it. I'm now on 1,200 videos.
It's wowzers.
Yeah.
I've unshared some of my videos. I never delete them because it's not good for YouTube. That YouTube doesn't like it when you delete stuff.
I didn't know that. I've deleted about 10 over the years where I've got.
You're probably all right because you've got so many.
Yeah.
But it's I think something like it still uses the video to scan it. I don't know how it works, but I watched them. It was a YouTube thing, and they say never delete it, just unlist it and make it private.
Oh right.
But also, part of me is like, I made like my first videos private because they're cringe.
Yeah.
But I think one day I'll make them all public.
Cringe, my original ones.
Yeah, I'll make them public again. One day I'll do it and go, this is my first video. Because I almost feel like I work with some of the young kids now, and there's a lad called Jake we work with at the minute. He's a great lad, and we're trying to get him to talk more because he's a phenomenal rider. Just gone elite. The kid can like ride a bike like nothing. He's so fast, so quick. But like I keep saying, you need to be able to talk on camera. You need to be able to get people. When you're out and about making your videos, he makes great edits, but he just needs to be able to do that thing where like, I'm here today, tell the story, you know, what he's doing, what he's up to. And he's getting better at it. He's talking more. But I said, just go and sit in your room and do it. And I said, your first 100 videos, they'll be awful. Yeah. It takes you ages to be able to just, like now, I can remember like the early days, you'd be in a wood somewhere on a weekend and there's people and you'd go and hide in a corner away from everyone and talk to the camera. And now I'm just like riding and people, but then also I suppose we're more noticeable. People clock you, they know what you're doing as well.
The other thing is if you're doing it on a phone, is when you're talking to your phone, the way I look at it now, people just think you're doing a video call to somebody.
Yeah, there's that as well, yeah.
So sometimes if I walk past and I'm doing that, I'll almost like pretend, like, I'll be like, what do you think? So people think, oh, he's just doing a video call. Can I, going back to being 55, can I do another wee, please?
Yeah, of course you can, mate. Yeah, you go through. Where were we at?
We were at Enduro Mag. And
yeah, like we started early, like filming and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a bit better now. I'll just start talking to myself in the woods. I'm not as fussy. I think most people are doing it now as well. That's the difference and stuff. So did you, when you first started doing the YouTube then? I suppose. With the writing, I've gone through all these stages and I realise now, all it is to do is I just want to tell stories.
Yes.
And it's storytelling is the key bit.
And it's easier to a camera than having to write it down.
Well, yeah, it is, yeah. And you're doing the editing now and everything yourself, don't you?
So the sort of progression of pins, it was MTB vlogs. I was filming all odds and sods. It was not a problem with the magazines. Well, magazine at the time. And then the one day I was like, this is all right, you know, it's going well. Doc was editing. And I was like, I'm going to change the name. Okay. I'm going to call it Pin TV. I had a bit of a think, thought, well, that's quite a cool name. And then it started getting a few more followers. It got to like 1,000 subscribers quite quickly because I had a following in the mags.
I found once I got to that first 1,000, it took off.
Yes,
it
same
took ages to get to the first 1,000, and then once you hit 1,000, it's almost like the algorithm.
That's when you monetize and you have to start.
Yeah, and it all starts pushing then, doesn't it?
So I got to that stage, and then Enduro Mag were like, hang on a minute.
Oh, really?
Conflict of interests here. It's either your thing or you work for us. And I was like, see you later.
Really?
Nothing horrible. I still love those guys. I'm still in touch with some of them. But I was like, do you know what? I'm sick of writing.
I think that's just early days of that sort of media, wasn't it? I think now, if you worked for a magazine and then you were doing what you're doing, they'd see it as a huge plus.
Yes.
They wouldn't be going, hang on a minute, he's taking something away, actually. I think even in the early days when I first started, I would look at people like you and I'd look at other things and I felt like we're in competition, but we're not.
Yeah.
It took me a while to go, actually, no, because what we want people to do is go on YouTube and watch mountain bike content. And I realised they're not watching yours and not watching mine. They're watching yours, mine, everybody's. They're not just... And the more there is that, it's like when you listen to a podcast. It's like you're not listening to one person's podcast as you drive in and not another. You just go... oh, if I like that, I'm going to like that as well. And then you just want the next one. Because you're not waiting a week for the next video to come out. You're going to go to the next person's podcast. And there was definitely, you kind of realise that it's actually, we're part of an ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's the whole rising tide floats all boats things, isn't it? Is it, how much attention do you pay them when you make a video? How much attention do you pay? What's your process to making the video? Have you always just gone?
I very rarely make a video on a specific subject.
Right.
I will go riding, film it, and then the name of that video will be down to like the subject, a little bit clickbaity, but not too clickbaity.
Well, there's nothing wrong with clickbait.
No.
The clickbait became
you have to
really
be careful. You don't want to be, he jumped off this massive 100-foot drop and you got someone jumping off a curb.
As long as you deliver on it, it's fine. Some people I think clickbait used to be, you'd click on it and go, this is nothing to do with the video. You made me click on something.
And then you get,
that hurts your video.
That bites them in the arse. Once you start getting the algorithm of thumbs down and negative comments.
Yeah, of course.
To be fair, I hardly ever get negative comments now.
I don't get any. Like I look at, do you look at your analytics much? Do you study
now and then? Yeah.
And like you've got that one where it shows your overall negative each video, and it's usually about 100%.
Yes.
Thumbs up,
I used to, when I first started, it'd be some person, I know it was one person, I'd get one thumbs down immediately.
Oh, really?
As soon as, probably a local, because there's this saying of like, you'll never get, it was Dan Stanton, I'll never forget him telling me, from Stanton Bikes.
Yeah.
He said, the thing you have to be careful of, what you're doing, he says, the least support you will ever get is from your local area, because people are a bit jealous and a bit like nasty.
Yeah, I found that.
No one it's a UK thing. People don't like to see people succeed. Not that I have succeeded in pin.
Yeah.
It's not like it's GMBN or whatever, but
your local spot are the ones.
But I end up that I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care what people think about that anymore. If you don't like me, don't watch me.
It's funny actually because your group of friends, my closest group of friends, is the one that took it's banter as well, isn't it? But there is a few of them in that where you can tell it's just jealous because they want to be able to do it.
Well, the negative stuff, I don't mind a bit of banter and I don't mind whatever, but nowadays I did go through a spate of biting and arguing, and you think this is not getting me anywhere.
I had a proper troll for a while.
You?
Yeah, I had. Yeah. So obviously I do the YouTube stuff, but then I also started getting really involved in BMX because my daughter started racing BMX and she got quite good. She got like junior GB sort of level where they go off to do a few world championships and stuff. So she got all decent, and then it got a bit too much for her. But she was you end up getting involved massively in it.
Yeah.
And before I knew
it, delete them.
Yeah, well, before I knew it, I'm coaching and I'm running series and I'm running tracks and regions and stuff, and I get involved with all that now, and I love it. I do genuinely like it, but all of a sudden I got this one guy. He was a fake account called Troy Lee, and it was the Troy, like a picture of the Troy Lee, and it was this guy, and it was mad because whoever it was, they'd obviously in their settings they'd saved it to alert them. Yeah. As soon as I post.
And you can almost spell troll if you take out Troy Lee, can't you?
Well, there, isn't it? It's almost there, isn't it? So, and it was mad. And I would literally get, as soon as I'd do something, they'd be the first person.
Yeah.
And it would be, if it was a decision I did within the bike, we put a race on, but we decide, what have you done that for? That was a stupid decision. But what was quite nice was the amount of, you realise you don't have to fight them because everybody else will fight them for you.
Yeah, you get back up off your subscribers.
Because all your subscribers started backing you up and everything. Great, and that's actually quite nice. And you know who it is. I worked out who it is. And it's that person. They're just jealous.
Yeah.
They were in it for a while before. They thought they were going to end up in the position I was, but they didn't do anything to get there. They just sort of thought it would come to them. Yeah. And actually, they didn't.
People think it's easy as well. I've been at bike parks before and I've heard people talking about YouTubing. They go, I might just become a YouTuber. It's dead easy to get sponsored then. And you think, you don't know anything, do you?
No, it's hard.
You see them come and go. You see these pros and whatever. COVID did a lot of it. A lot of pros who used to slag off vloggers then became vloggers themselves. And some of them have done really well out of it. Fair play to them.
I wish I did more in COVID.
Yeah.
But like you, the COVID thing coincided with the divorce for me.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing, and I look back at like Davey Burks and Ollie, what Ollie have done, because the Ride Companion really exploded.
I was on one there early, Davey's
really?
Before he was with Ollie. Yeah, me and Stu.
With the Hook It one,
yeah. It was terrible, like, because we were it was a remote one.
Yeah.
Stu, it was me and Stu. Stu's line was terrible, and he had a really bad cough, and like he was constantly coughing. And it sound when you listen to it, it sounds awful.
You get away with it, but he did it quite a lot, and then obviously like they then did. It was called the Lockdown Companion, wasn't it? It turned into that. They then became the Ride Companion, and it was like that just exploded. And part of me was like, I was getting all of it. It was starting to really explode. And I remember going to Dolby Forest. It was literally just before we split up. You know, we won't go into all the details, but yeah, I remember going there. Was on holiday. I did this video up at the Dolby Woods, and it was massive. And then I probably didn't post then for about 6 months because the world just completely changed. And COVID was happening, divorce was happening, everything else, everything. And it was just like, and I kind of regret it really. And I think now, selfish is the wrong word, but you put yourself. There's nothing wrong with going, this is a positive thing I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. And actually having those people that sort of pull you down.
The things, the problem you can get, and I've done it myself, and I'm sure you've done it, you can have 1 million great thumbs up, comments, likes, and you'll have one negative, and you'll read it, and you'll be like, oh God, is that what people think of me?
Yeah.
And instead of, you'll dwell on it, and you'll be like, oh fuck, do I really see? Whatever.
I've had a bit of a, so every now and again, so my YouTube peaked massively, but I kind of regret it. So I got quite good at shorts. And then every now and again, I'll get a short that will really take off and get like hundreds of thousands of views. And you'll get loads of subscribers, but it's almost a bit of a poison chalice because they're not good quality subscribers. They all subscribe, but then I noticed then over the next 6 months, they all start to unsubscribe because they subscribe because that particular short did well. Yeah. And it's something, there's a crash or there's something that was good. But then actually they don't want pure mountain bike content. Yeah. And so it's almost like, so my went peaked and then it plateaued. And then I had one recently where it was that altercation I had with the guy at the pump track. Yeah. And it was, God, it's like 2.5 million views now. Because it's mad, isn't it? Yeah. But what's really interesting is I posted that because there's a bit of a backstory to it, which people don't realise. And people we do a lot in an Eaton BMX club. I run the BMX club. And that chap had been kicking off for about 2 years. And we've had about half a dozen like young mums come back crying because he's screamed at them and he's told them off. He's told the kids they're not allowed to ride it. Proper grumpy old bloke. And I kind of have sympathy for him as well. But at the same time, when I've never had an altercation with him. A few of the other...
This is a guy saying it's private.
He's saying it's basically saying the pump track. And what it is the estate is under a private management company for cleaning the roads and stuff. And he's just pissed off because everyone parks out on a Saturday. And I feel sorry for him because the parking is pretty shit. They built this lovely facility and not put enough parking spaces. Yeah. But
that's not your fault.
Yeah, and as long as if someone comes along and parks like a knob and blocks his driveway, he's got all the right in the world to be angry with that person. I knew where this guy is, and I park on a different street. I deliberately stayed out of his way I went there really early in the morning. But then he just picked a fight with the wrong person, and the reason I posted it originally was just because I wanted to share with the people that the women and the mums and everything that sort of thought they'd been doing stuff wrong. And actually, you're in the right to do this. Don't be scared to go there because we send people. It's a really good pump track, and also, if you do get into altercation, this is how you deal with it. Just stand your ground. Don't be abusive. Yeah. And I thought, and it was quite interesting because 99% of the comments on that post, which is what the point I was getting to, was people were like really supportive. You handled that really well. You came across really well. You didn't believe.
You handled it a lot better than I would.
Well,
I'd have lost my shit with that bloke.
Yeah, because people don't see as well is he actually jumped out in front of the reason I'm recording is because I was doing a lap and he jumped out in front of me and tried to grab me whilst I was on the track and I was like, whoa. So then all of a sudden you're heightened up here, your adrenaline's up here because someone took you off your bike, but then I had to sort of calm down. And then it's quite interesting because the amount of people that just comment on it and you're thinking, how are you getting, that he's done nothing wrong, you're just another cyclist, and then the amount of people like, why you're a grown man playing on a kid's track, and it's like, well, you clearly know nothing. I just went, well, because I get paid to. I just put that out. It's like, and it's crazy, isn't it? Like you say, going back to my point is even though overwhelmingly the interaction is positive, you still get people that you just kind of go, but I just post and ghost now. Post it, don't look at it.
Same here, yeah.
I interact with the comments of people that are being positive.
Yes.
But I just ghost.
Yeah, I'll always like their comment, and I'll always reply to every single comment.
Yeah, there's a question, I try and,
and
a lot of comments for you, that is.
Yeah, it's not that much. Sometimes it's been a long time since I've had a viral video. I think the last time was, oh God,
it's all on shorts now. The viral stuff
I went with Ollie McKenna to what's the place near Fort William where they do the downhill racing? Glencoe.
Yeah.
And it was like, is this the UK's scariest track? And I rode it on an e-bike and it got over 100,000 views. Whereas now my views are they're usually peak at about 5,000.
They're solid though. Consistent.
Yeah, but I've got a good good solid base of subscribers who I think listen to me, and I guess they must like me. But the whole process of it is like I was saying before, is just film the ride, get it edited as quick as possible while it's fresh in my head.
Yeah.
Like, because I just done this trip to Scotland with Nicola, and in the last week I've done 4 riding edits from there, and I've done 3 pinned uncuts.
Right, okay.
And I finished them last night, and I was like, oh, it's like a relief when all I got to do is the YouTube work, which is pretty simple.
When you're riding around, are you kind of in your head thinking how this will pan out in the video?
Sort of, yeah. And I'll say something. I don't purposefully say something, but I'll say something and think I'm definitely putting that in, what I just said, or what they've just said. And that's why in between runs, I'll keep the camera rolling at people's reactions to that
you
trail.
learn that, don't you?
Yeah.
Because the amount of times you do a run and you instantly turn the GoPro off. And then now I always just leave it on for a minute or two so we start climbing again, and then maybe I'll turn it off after we start getting into the climb. You start to learn as well. Someone might say something that's off camera and you think that's quite interesting.
Sometimes when you've left the camera on by mistake, that's when you get your gold.
Yeah, of course.
All the way up the climb, and they get to the top like, fuck, I left it on.
Yeah.
Now I've got that little mini DJI. That's a nightmare because it flattens the battery quick.
Really?
And I'm like, bollocks.
Is that the little Nano?
Yeah.
I'm looking at getting one of them for Malverns.
I really like it. Really.
I really want to do like a behind the scenes Malverns video, because obviously I go around commentating and you're backstage and you're doing all this, that, and the other, and you're there quite early. But it's like I can't go up and interview you for size Instagram and like do a video. Trying to juggle those plates and spin those plates is too much. But I thought that Nano, I could probably clip it on.
Yeah.
And I could have it on without like a big chest.
Do you wear a cap?
I could, yeah.
They've got a cap mount that I actually use on my helmet, and it just literally goes on your peak. It's so good.
So yeah, I'm thinking of something like that because I think it'd be quite.
Or a magnet. You've got a magnet on your chest as well that goes under your jumper.
Because I've gone to obviously the DJI action. The DJI stuff's great, but I think I want something that's a little bit covert.
Yeah.
So when I'm chatting to you, so I'm not going to use the footage because obviously I'm going to do the interview, but it's kind of like afterwards I might try and do like a big like hour.
Yeah.
These are all the like you said, the uncut bits and stuff. But it's hard trying to do all that at the same time. So I find as well, do you find sometimes you'll be filming a video out in the woods and somebody will say something but it's not on camera, and then almost you'll start recording and then because you'll know, I'll ask him again, and you try and ask him again to get
not the same.
It doesn't.
Sometimes I'll just say, "Oh, he's just said whatever," or she's just said, and it's little. I think the more you do, the more you spot the gold when you're out riding. You think that's definitely going, especially crashes.
Yeah, of course.
You can never beat a decent crash in front of you.
Oh.
It's just. I don't know. I've got it to a T now. I'll get home. I can do a 20-minute edit in about 2 hours. Wow. Chuck it on YouTube, and then because I say an edit, I use that term very loosely. I use CapCut, and it's very easy.
Yeah.
And then I'll leave it on YouTube till maybe the next night where I'll do the YouTube stuff, and I'll do the thumbnail. I'll do on Pixar. I don't use AI. I went for about a month asking AI, saying, right, this is my video, tell it all about it, give me suggestions of a title, thumbnail, picture, and then I'd end up going, well, I don't really like that, I'm going to do something else, because that's a bit like we were talking off camera, it's a bit like what everyone else does.
Well, yeah, I've done that recently where I've gone, I'm struggling for a title for this video, give me a title, and I've given it all the details, and it's come out with something that Matt Jones would say. And yeah, it obviously then AI just then scans all the best YouTubers, and it obviously then finds Sam Pilgrim, Matt Jones, all these people, and it just goes, okay, and it gives something like what they would put. And so you end up just kind of going, it doesn't always work for our audience or whatever.
I can almost do the YouTube, when you have to go through it, every page after you're posting has this got whatever content in it. I can almost do that blindfolded now.
Is it for kids? No.
And then you schedule it, and then you'll put up your whatever.
I used to have all the copy and paste in my notes, and just go copy and paste after the thing, copy and paste the tags.
And just a little different description.
Yeah, I write the description. I always try and write a good description.
Yeah, same here.
What's the reason you leave it then to overnight, just to do all the processing?
Just because once I've finished editing, that's it. I can relax.
Do you upload it, or do you just leave it?
Yeah, I upload it. Yeah,
and then you just and then you don't.
That was something in the early days that was a nightmare. Is that you learn by all these mistakes. I made so many mistakes over the years.
Yeah.
And one of them was like you'd upload and then make it live immediately, and the quality's really bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't go to HD, and you get all these comments saying, "Why is it such poor quality?" And I'm like, "What's gone wrong?"
Yeah, I've learned
you have to leave it for a few hours. Don't
you have to be patient. Yeah, so you have to. I upload it to YouTube and then I leave it. And then another thing I've learned recently, I like to watch it. So I'll let it, then I'll go on the telly and I'll watch it on the telly and I'll watch it on my phone.
I never watch it.
I just want to make sure it's fine.
Never look at it again.
Really?
It. Yeah.
But what I've learned is me watching it's okay as long as I watch the whole video. Because if I only watch, say, like 30 seconds
you miss
and
a mistake.
Well, not just that. If I watch it and I go, the 4K, the sound's good, it's fine, the video's fine, and I turn it off, the algorithm has registered that as a 30-second view.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Apparently, I was reading that the other day or watching on YouTube, and that could have a detriment because then all of a sudden, straight off the bat, it's gone, well, someone's clicked on this and they've only watched 30 seconds. They've not watched the whole thing, and it doesn't. So, how much do you get into the analytics then? Do you look at all the retention?
I did do. I used to look at, like, what sexes, what countries, blah, blah.
Right.
Sex is terrible. I'm like 99.8% male.
I think if you get more than 2 or 3% in our genre, that's quite good.
But now I've got Nicola on board.
Yeah,
which we'll get to in a bit. I've got more women watching.
Got you, cool.
But that was like the progression of Todd. So then, as it got going, YouTube, a lot of the subject was me going out riding with Todd when he was like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because he was 8, he was tiny 7. When he first started, wasn't he?
And he was, trying to get him to. At first, he wasn't even interested, and then he started doing it. And then I'd start taking him to races, and then got him sponsored, and we were both sponsored by various brands. And it was like a progression of Todd. And then I remember when he was was he now 19? When he was 15, I took him to Cairns to a mini Enduro, and he fucking beat me.
Oh, really?
And it was because there was a lot of jumps there. And he's shit hot on jumps.
Okay.
And I was like, "You've beat me."
Well, Si and I were talking about this last night because I said, "I've got gym tomorrow," and he was on straight away. He was on Roots and Rain.
Yeah.
He wanted me to ask you, who do you think overall out of all the races? Because you could do that comparison where it says who's the most out of the two of you, like who's won the most.
I think it's me.
He thinks it's him. He's adamant it's him.
I only say I think it's me because I thought he told me it was me.
I think
So if he thinks it's him, it will.
He thinks he's done more
him.
races back in the day. He's really hard to look up on Roots and Rain. If you put Si Payton in Roots and Rain, it comes up with all the organiser stuff. And so then all of a sudden you're like,
I've got
there's like 30,000 races.
I've got about 250 on there, something like that.
Yeah, he's about the same, about 250.
But then
like
Roots and Rain wasn't going in the early days.
No, so, like a lot. Remember all those microtime sheets and stuff like that we used to have, pedal hounds and that.
But me and Si were so similar. I mean, we'd be like 10th, 11th, 9th, 8th.
Yeah.
And it'd be so competitive with us.
Well, we will talk about this because I think he said Pagey's lad beat him for the first time.
Yeah, and he's only little. Day. Yeah, and I saw the footage of him riding. He was absolutely flying.
Pagey's lad beat him for the first time.
Oh, he's got quick way younger than Todd. But then you've got to look at what the kids have got now.
What they're riding,
what they're riding, the places they're riding, support they get. When Todd was doing it, there weren't really any bikes to start with that were decent. I think the first decent bike he had was a Trek Fuel EX Junior, which we mulleted. It was 26 and put 650 in the front.
Okay.
Like very early days.
Was that a hardtail, was it? Was that,
no, full suspension.
Right, yeah.
And so it was like the progression of Todd. Then he got quicker. Then obviously he starts riding with his mates, and he's doing some amazing content as they're doing all gnarly shit. And he's mates with like national champions and Alex Storr and people like that. His mate Leo Freighter, and they're bringing out some ace stuff.
But going back to the analytics then of the thing. So you used to, you'd post it up, and obviously you were saying about like the different female content and all that stuff. Did you used to concentrate on like this click-through rate and the thumbnails and stuff? Because I remember, imagine at one point you wouldn't even bother with the thumbnail, would you?
No.
I can remember when I first learned, hang on a minute, if I...
someone said to me, you need to do a thumbnail.
Yeah,
I think it was after Doc. Doc had had enough doing the editing for me, which understandably wasn't getting paid. I wasn't getting paid.
Yeah, no one's getting paid, and you rely on everyone kind of just being enthusiastic, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. And then there's a young lad from Shrewsbury called Darcy Davis, and I can't remember what he's called now, but he's doing really well now. I think he's in the film industry.
Oh wow!
So he started doing some stuff with us. He's about 16 at the time, but he was.
It's what you want.
He's one of these dopey 16-year-olds. I mean that in all respect, lovely lad, but he was a bit like dozy.
Right.
You know, like he was one of them lads who you'd think was constantly stoned out of his mind. And like, all right, Jim. And then, so he was doing some stuff, but it was like proper edits. It was really nice stuff. We took him away. Me and Stu took him to like the fox hunt and Red Bull fox hunt and things like that. And he did some lovely edits, but he'd be waiting months. And then when I'm getting free entries to races, and then the edit's taking months, you get shit off the organisers.
Of course you do.
Where's we gave you a free entry.
Yeah, where's the video? We need this video up.
Yeah, and that happened with PMB, I think it was at one time, and I sort of fell out with Kev over it a little bit.
Duckworth.
But it wasn't my fault really.
Yeah.
And then he'd had enough. We had a bit of a fallout over how long it was taking. I'd bought him a posh laptop.
I remember that. Rings a bell.
I just went and picked it up, and I remember sitting at home, looking at his laptop, totally computer illiterate, going, "That's the end of pin. I'm done. I can't do it. I don't know how to edit. I don't even know how to do hardly anything on a computer." And at a time, someone said to me, "Just give it a go. Have a go." And the first edit, took me. It's a 20-minute edit. The first edit took me 2 days.
Oh, really?
2 days.
Like
lost it twice. Had to start again. Fucking screaming, smacking at the, proper little tantrums, sweating, and then eventually I got it, and I was like, and then I learned. And quickly.
There's nothing worse when you've done an edit. I had one the other week.
It crashes.
Something happens and it's gone.
Yeah, Sony Vegas,
and you go into
mate.
Full on panic. But you'd come in you'd come in the next day. That's why I upload it to YouTube straight away. You come in the next day and you're like, "Where's that gone? Where's the hard drive? Where's the libraries gone? Hang on a minute. Where's all of us? Or your timeline? I don't know if it does it on CapCut, but I use Final Cut Pro. All of a sudden, the timeline, the clips are saying error.
Yeah,
and you're like. Well, and it's
I think I've had every mistake.
Yeah, and then you're on YouTube, you're on the phone to people.
I'm usually on the phone to Todd. Do you know what's happening here? So for years, once I learned to do it on Sony Vegas, which is very fucking basic crap, really, and Todd would be like, "You need to get a decent editing suite." Yeah, I'm like, "But I know how to use this," and I tried CapCut. I tried Premiere. I tried whatever the other one is, the big one.
I've done Final Cut.
Which
is, I get on with that, but I started on iMovie.
Yes.
Which is like your basic as. I mean, Deke still edits on iMovie.
That's
amazing.
Use
iMovie. But,
But I tried them, and because I was so used to the other thing, it was like I had to learn again, and eventually Todd was like, CapCut is the one. You can do all the auto captions, blah, blah, blah. He goes, just try it. And I tried it. And I was like, this is brilliant. And now it's so much easier. I can do all the stuff on Instagram with the auto captions, the UGC stuff and all that. That's a different side to it. And that's where you saw Todd coming away and doing all his own thing and then suddenly starting to get all his own fantastic media. And, well, you can see how well
it's progressed, hasn't it? So Todd, hasn't it? So you've obviously just gone through that at the minute with Todd leaving and stuff.
Yes.
How did that all come about? Is it just been a natural as he's gone on? Natural. He's done more and more of his own stuff.
Todd's a very clever lad. He was starting to do auto caption stuff before pretty much every YouTuber who does mountain biking used it.
Yeah.
So he started getting noticed by brands, and then he started doing UGC, user generated content, paid stuff for different brands where he'd just show their products, blah blah blah. And it started to clash a little bit with Pinned.
Okay.
Because he'd want to do stuff that was products that would be competitors to who we'd use.
Oh, okay.
Because we were quite well sponsored with all
you've got to be
ones.
careful.
And I didn't ever want to stop him because I wanted to be successful, and I've always said to him, look, work-wise, don't do what I did. Don't graft your bollocks off and knacker your body. I said, the two golden rules I gave him with work when he'd ask about what should I do, I'd be like, you want a job that doesn't feel like a job, and you want a job that you don't ever feel like you need to go on holiday from.
Yeah,
and that is what he's done. You know,
that's really good advice.
So Todd's got 3 things going now. His one is he's working for that bike flip.
I was going to ask you about that. So that's the thing with Loic Bruni. So I was on about this.
It's owned by Fabio Widmer and his brother.
Right.
Loic Bruni is a big investor in it.
Right. And it's just a site to sell bikes.
It's like Vinted for bikes.
Right,
They've got about 130,000 bikes on their books. You don't see it in the UK because Brexit fucked all our postage and everything up.
Right, okay.
So they can't really work out of the UK because of all the charges and extra paperwork.
Yes, of course it is. I've just had this problem with that.
Yeah. So basically, say you sell a bike on their site.
Yeah.
They will then send you a box, it's specially made box. It's a bit like a flight bag, but it's cardboard. You'll send the bike out to the customer.
Yeah.
And then Bike Flip will keep the money until the customer's satisfied, and then they'll pay you minus their 2%. And they're doing very well.
So it's a nice secure transaction for everyone.
So Todd is on like a retainer for them. He has to make X amount of videos per week. He gets bonuses if he makes more.
Oh, okay.
So they
what sort of content does he make for them then?
Mostly UGC videos. So he's like going, okay, what does your bike say about you? If you ride a Santa Cruz, yada yada yada. If you want to check out any of these bikes, you can get them second hand at Bike Flip. That's his sort of thing he'll do. And he'll make these videos all week long.
Got you.
So that came about because he did his homeless in Europe thing last year.
Right. Okay.
Where he went around Europe.
I saw some of that. And
he made these videos every how often, and they were really good.
Yeah.
And on his way home, he got this message off the people at Bike Flip saying, "Loving your videos. You fancy doing some for us?" And he went over to Italy, had a meeting, got the job straight away. So he's doing that. He's running it. Then he's now set up his own media company where he's a middleman, like an agent, and it's for nutritional brands. So he gets influencers to make UGC videos for them, and he deals with the money and stuff. So he's like, an agent.
That's good.
And then his latest thing is the Athertons were like, we need to improve what people think about the team, etc.
Right.
And they said, do you want to do it for us?
Because what's his role? It's social
his role
media.
Is he runs the social media and presenter for Atherton Racing. So he's doing all the World Cups. He's doing.
That's a big gig.
Yes.
That's a proper.
And he loves it, and they love him. He's just done his first one in South Korea, very successful. And I've had comments off people going, "Oh, look at the Atherton's media now." It's like he's really improved. Basically, they've hired him to showcase the personalities of their riders because nobody knows what their personalities are like. And they're verging on being too corporate and boring, and they're not really. So
no, but it's a big brand. He's got these 3
gigs going on. He's doing really well. He's 19. He's driving a nice BMW, and I'm so proud of him. But when he got the Atherton gig,
it was too much.
All Bayer were like, not really, not if you're wearing Atherton stuff and ride. They want you. So he left.
It's tricky, isn't it? And it's hard to manage these things, and it is what it is.
So he left, and obviously with the progression of what happened with me and divorce, and I met Nicola, etc., and she does YouTube and has her own channel called the Autistic trail queen. She was just called Nick Rides Bikes, and
okay.
She's autistic, but not that autistic that she's too much.
No, I think
incorrect.
We've all got autism.
Yeah, so she's quite autistic in a way.
How do you guys meet then?
She was a subscriber and she used to comment on the odd video.
Right.
And then I met her at Southern Enduro literally probably a couple of months after the start of my breakup with my wife.
Yeah.
Not last year, the year before. And we just stayed in touch and it went from there. So then, Todd's gone. I mean, before Todd's gone from Pin, he's still going to be on
Nicola
it.
was doing quite a lot of stuff when sort of you was all three of you should be on rides and stuff. So it's like a natural transition.
Yeah,
and
then
isn't it?
I was like, well, you're going to ride with us. All brands want a girl riding for them.
Yeah.
And so I'm now slowly transferring Todd's sponsorship. Todd started coming away from sponsorship before he left.
Really?
He was like, well, I don't want that clothing. I don't want because I can just get this, that, and the other and everything. And he didn't want to be tied because he wanted to work with all these different brands. And I totally understand it. So flipping a lot of the brands over to her and her using them, which is great. And we're now working on a lot of stuff. And because of the way her mind works, she's very, very focused. So she's helping me out with pins. She's set up a website. She's doing stuff for my coaching, like the website's on there. And then the new thing I've set up called Vid Ads, which is actually offering these little UGC videos for brands, etc.
I've got to learn all this UGC stuff today.
It's dead easy, mate.
I was going to talk to you about that because obviously with the YouTube stuff, I don't know if you found, like whenever I'm doing more product stuff. I've got some company sending me products and stuff, which I've shied away from out reviews because it usually tanks the channel. They never do as well as a riding video. You get loads of views, loads of engagement.
Definitely.
And then you'll do like a review on some pedals.
And it's shit views. Because no one cares.
And the whole search engine optimization thing where people search, so that doesn't really work on YouTube anymore.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my brain's like, I look at the riding industry, I look at the state the riding industry is in, and we kind of need to work with these brands and kind of give them, and that's what they want. And it's this tricky balance, isn't it? Because you're going, but if I do that, e-bike reviews would be great.
Oh,
we're trying to get e-bikes.
If you look at Rob Rides Bikes, but he's the one.
It's amazing. His
out of
great.
all of them, I think I've got the most respect for him.
I love
as
his
a
stuff.
YouTuber.
Yeah,
He's a lovely guy. I get on well with him.
I've never met him.
I've ridden with him. I keep talking about doing a collab, but it's difficult. And he's just very professional.
Yeah, I love his stuff.
And he's really blown up since. And part of me is like, why didn't I fucking do that?
Yeah, it's always hindsight, isn't it?
But he's very techie. He's a bit like you. I'm not techie at all.
Well, I really getting into like more the filmmaking side of it. So I've got my inspirations and I kind of know where I want to go. I've got to do what I like to do that feeds me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care if one person watches it or a million people watch it anymore. I've got to make the video that I want to make.
Well, that's it. I can't go out and do, let's make a video on how to corner because I just wouldn't like it. Yeah. Whereas I'll just go out and make a video and then give it a name that's suitable to what happened, really.
Yeah, got stuck in the mud. Can't believe X, Y, and Z. No, it's quite. Are you going to do more stuff around mental health then with the autism side of it?
I think so. Not so much direction? Nicola. Well, whatever. I like to talk about it. Since
me, you and Stu talked about this not long ago, didn't we, where we were saying like mental health.
So the mental health thing has always been a weird one for me because of my background and what I did when I was younger and I was a bit off the rails. I've always been, a lot of my friends were like, well, sure, you're a psycho because you've got no emotions. I've got no compassion, didn't have any compassion, more for animals than humans. And I was a bit like, I never cried, never got upset.
That's very much an autistic thing, though, isn't it?
Nicola thinks I am, but I'm not into going and getting tested because I think people throw these labels out a bit.
Well, everyone's got ADHD now.
Yeah. So, and I don't want it as an excuse.
No, it doesn't make any change or anything, but it's just one of those things, isn't it?
So I was like that mindset of like, what do you mean you got depression? Pull your socks up. Like I was that sort of person.
Yeah, of course.
And I didn't understand it, never had it. I had dark places, like when I was homeless, but
Yeah.
I just had this mad drive where I'd just get over it and I'd just be like, I'll be okay.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I've been in a lot of positions abroad where people would be absolutely shitting themselves in a certain times. I'd be like, oh, fuck it, I'll be all right. And I always was. And so I carried that until divorce situation.
Really?
And that turned everything on its head for me. And that was middle of the season, start of all the big racing, 2024, a row. You know, we weren't really getting on. Totally separate lives. I'd let Pin TV and what I do take over everything I do.
Course,
no attention to my wife.
Yeah.
We had totally separate lives, bit of a row, and then I sort of said, oh, well, maybe we should split up. Didn't mean it. And she said, well, I've been thinking about it for years. And I was like, fuck. And then everything went in my head, tits up, you know, my cushy little life in Shrewsbury.
And it just came.
And it was like all of a sudden, like, fuck. And mental health hit me. I was in a right mess. You know, I don't mind admitting it. There was a couple of occasions over those months where I'd find myself like go in the kitchen, into the pill drawer.
Yeah.
Fucking shuffling through.
What are these?
This would be easy. Just fucking end it. Fuck it. And even with kids, it sounds horrendous when I look back because you got kids who love you.
Of course, yeah.
But I just saw myself as a burden on them.
The problem is it's you're in a hole where you can't see.
Oh, it was awful, mate. And I was like, fucking hell, I've got full on depression. And I had to stay in the house because it was, as divorces go and separation, it was good in a way because it was totally agreed upon, 50-50. You can stay here until the divorce goes through.
Yeah.
I'll pay you half for what the house is worth.
Right.
I was like, oh, sound right.
Okay.
But my head was so fucked, I couldn't appreciate anything. I was in a bad place, just to lock myself away in this little room at night and just get stoned out of my fucking mind. And that made it worse because I'd overthink.
Wow.
And then the one night I was like, the one night that I was rattling through the pills and I had a mental breakdown and went to see the ex-wife and she said, oh, you can just stay here a bit longer, you know, let's see if it works out. And I knew it wasn't.
Yeah, of course.
She just said it because she didn't want me to bloody top myself, basically.
She was just trying,
So at that point I understood it all. 26 years.
So you kind of know each other, don't you? There's an level of empathy.
Yeah,
it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's such a tricky one.
Yeah. So that happened, and then after like a bit of a breakdown, the next night I think it was, I went up Stretton on my own. Well, me and Colin, the dog.
Yeah.
Sat in the van, facing the hills. Sorry, and I got a DMT pen. Dimethyltryptamine or
right, yeah.
A bit like ayahuasca.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
it. And
I'd
listen to a lot of podcasts about how this stuff is like can get you sort of out of a mental.
Well, they use it now a lot for PTSD, don't they?
That's
stuff
it.
Like that.
Yeah. So I was like, you're meant to have 3 drags of this thing, and then you're away with the fairies. I was fucking because I had no regard for my own personal.
You just hit it hard,
mate. I was on it. I must have had 20 drags of this thing.
No.
I was absolutely fucked. I was looking out at the hills, right? They came alive, and I was seeing all these mad faces and animals. You know, a bit like you see like old Indian animation, sort of mad dragons. It was like that, and I was looking at it. And I did this thing it's not addictive in any way. Once you're off it, you do it. And it's like, fucking hell. I came off it. I was like, oh my God, that was insane.
The hallucinogenics thing's really, the taboo around it's really lifted.
Yeah. Well,
Rat Boys talked about it, hasn't he, and things and everything. So my
ex was trying to make me go to the doctors and take antidepressants. And I was like, no, not doing that. I know all about how bad they are for you.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll do it myself, and then I was doing magic mushrooms, and I had a session. I had a time in my life where I was doing all this stuff, trying to sort my head out, trying to get rid of this depression, and it worked. And the maddest thing that worked is like, after taking that DMT for the first time, every time I'd talk to my ex Cassie about things going on, even if it was like, fuck all. I'd start crying.
Oh, really?
I never fucking hard. I could count on one hand how many times I cried in my whole life.
So it like opened a gate.
So
or a release
I
or
did a bit
something.
more investigation into what it does, and it opens up blocked pathways.
Right. Okay.
emotional pathway. So I'm like, fuck me, you know, she'd be like asking where the milk is, and I'd start crying, you know. And I'm like, what's wrong with me?
Literally crying over spilled milk.
Like, yeah, and it is. That's right. I never even realised that. And then, so it basically kind of fixed me. I had to get out. We were arguing a lot, and it did get heated. And then the 2 days before I was getting out of the house, when I was meant to be getting the money because I couldn't stay in the house, I had booked in a fucking hernia operation, which I'd put off 3 times, and I could not put it off again. Savage pain, horrible operation.
You had the hernia for a while, had you? Then?
Yeah, 7 years.
It's mad, isn't it? I never realised that was a thing until recently.
Oh, it was horrible because of grafting.
Because I thought you have hernias and it's like a thing that happens to you, and you have to get it sorted straight away. I didn't realise it's something that essentially people have for a long time. I didn't realise that.
So I had this operation, and then I'm at home lying down in bed on all these drugs because it was so fucking painful. Like, because you can't move your abdomen.
No, of course,
because you got all these layers of muscle.
I remember I had stomach surgery once, and I didn't realise how much it took me out.
And you're meant to do nothing for a month. 2 days after the operation, we were rowing. My head was fucked, and I was like, right, I'm going.
Oh, really?
And I had this motorhome lined up off Andy from Ride Southern Spain. Transferred the money. So at the time where my head was fucked, and I've got major like depression on and off, starting to try and get out of it, but it was still nowhere near. You know, they couldn't pick a better place.
Spot to have a look at that.
So if you can hear that, there's a load of people met up outside for a run.
They have them
photos and all sorts, literally like 10 yards from us. I might go and have a wee while they do that.
You're going to have a wee. Had to stop for another wee break, a bit of a battery change, and the noisy rabble that was outside. I was mad with it.
I know, I had to take a photo of them.
It's like about 10 women just turned up for a jog. It's like, so you were saying about the ayahuasca.
So there's 3 things in life that they say are the most stressful.
Yeah.
Divorce, moving house, and operation.
And you did all 3?
I did all 3 in the same time.
Right.
So you can imagine my mental health was deteriorating. I was trying my hardest to, you know, get through all this. I had sudden realisation about, like, emotions.
Right.
And I totally... that time, I totally understood people with depression. I was like, fuck, I've been like really harsh about these people. You know, it's sometimes you don't know till you do it yourself, do you?
Yeah, my daughter's gone through it recently, and they were trying to say she's bipolar. I don't think she's bipolar. I think she's neurodiverse, but I think there's a bit of like my knee-jerk reaction as a dad was it's a load of rubbish, because the truth was, what I was really saying is I'm scared. I don't want this to happen to her. I want her life just to be brilliant.
Yes.
And then you sort of talk to her, and I walk her through it, and I go through things, and you go, I still don't think she's bipolar. But the doctors want to go depression, and I know what that means. They're going to medicate her, and I don't think that's right. I think maybe some therapy, maybe, you know, she's very creative. She does art design and stuff like that. So I'm like, yes, you have got the problem, but I don't believe in their solution. I think the solution's elsewhere, and that's the reaction, isn't it? But
same here, yeah. My daughter's similar. She's got Tourette's, but she's not like sweary out loud Tourette's. She's more tics.
Right, okay.
And we sort of, you know, we realised that several years ago, and now I was like, oh, fucking hell, this makes sense, because when I was younger I used to like do weird like winks in my eyes and the odd things, and I was like, that must be what I had.
Yeah, I think there's an element, people always got, I'm OCD, I am, but I think the obsessive compulsive parts of I've got diagnosed with some stuff, and there's definitely a side to that where there's so it's the neurodiverse thing. So like, that's why I said to you, we'll do this at 9 o'clock. Because if I'd have said we'll do this at 3 o'clock this afternoon, I would do nothing today. I'd have got here at 9 o'clock, and I'd have set up, and I'd have been just thinking about it, because I can't do anything, because that one thing's important.
Like that. And if we went riding first, if I was doing what you do, all I'd be thinking about on that ride is, right, how am I going to make this work later? And wouldn't enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty similar, like almost like one track minded.
Well, if I wouldn't want to go riding first, because then I'd be worried that we're going to have this massive conversation when we ride, and then you have to have it again, and it feels fake.
Yeah.
Whereas this is natural. So it's mad, isn't it? So did taking the DMT and the what's the word? What do they call it? Not hydroponics. What do they call it? Hallucinogenics.
Yeah.
My brain wasn't working then. you say that was like a door opening.
It was like a door opening. It helped me. It gave me compassion back, like when I was a kid. Like I remembered being a kid and having compassion, and it made me a much nicer person, more caring. And the biggest thing, and also a lot of my mates, I've got to say big thanks to that over what I was going through. It taught me to speak to people.
Okay.
Because I always bottled stuff up and didn't speak to people openly about personal stuff.
Was there a sense of, I feel like this is like, I always say make your world big.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you make your world small problems become big problems.
Yeah, totally.
If you make your world big, the small
Yeah.
problems are just small problems. Yeah. And so was there a sense of, and you hear like Rogan and people that talk about this, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a humbling.
Yes.
Like you take it,
and
it's almost like going, the universe is a much bigger place than you know what I mean? It's
definitely
that realization of where you are.
I think the mushrooms does that to you, but then the mushrooms ended up another thing that my brain, the last few times I did them, my brain, I could feel it really strongly saying, that's enough now.
Okay.
No more of this. And it was getting to a negative point where I was like not enjoying it, and I was like feeling paranoid, and I was like, "Fuck this!"
Because some people microdose, don't they? Where they just take
the microdosing, and it's all right.
I've thought about it.
I think it's overrated. I think the microdosing.
Okay.
I think if you really want to change your brain, I'm not condoning it because it can fuck people right.
I suppose the takeaway is everyone's got to do it their own way.
Everyone
and
is different. Some people it can give them, put them in a madhouse forever.
I've got friends who got massively into ketamine and stuff, and they already had an issue, but as a result of doing the ketamine, it's definitely made himself worse. So
I feel it sorted me out without having to go down antidepressants, and slowly I got this motorhome. My mate Rick, big thanks to Rick, he's got this place over near St Martin's. He said, "Come and stay here,
right,
on a little quiet farm."
That was the farm that you had for so long.
And I had the motorhome there for 8 months.
Cool.
And then eventually, I was enjoying that, met Nicola. Then we started going out in the motorhome and doing stuff, and, it was nice. And eventually he was like, I'm going to sell this place. It's not doing so well. I was like, fuck. And then, but all this whole time, I'd been going down the canals, walking along the canal near me. When I was a kid, I used to love the canals, and when I was 16, one of my first jobs was trainee canal barge builder.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew about them. I always said I wanted one. They always look cosy. And literally the day he said that to me, I said, I'm going to fucking live in one of them now. That's it, next job. And I'd been got to know Nicola, and we became a thing. And I was speaking to her fucking hell like an hour a night. Literally, I never did that with my ex, and I didn't speak. We didn't speak about anything, and so I was like this different person. I was speaking to her every night, and I was like telling her, got to know her so well, and we got to know each other, and she brought out, the sort of slowly bringing the fun back out in me. She's a lot younger than me, and I was saying about it, and I said, "Do you want to buy it with me? Should we get a barge together?" She's like, "Yeah." And so that increased what we could buy, and everything. I won't go into all details with how it happened because it's a bit boring, but basically we fell into this perfect barge near Oswestry that had private moorings where it's really hard to find private moorings.
Right, okay.
These people were selling it for a guy who had dementia. They'd had enough of trying to sell it, and they weren't really trying to sell it. I got it 10 grand cheaper than it should be.
Wow.
It was such a bargain. And I've been in that since September last year now, and I absolutely love it. It's fucking amazing. The only last fuck up I had, and I'm almost grateful for my mental health decline before and what happened with this. So I went to sell my motorhome, which was the what was it? Showsom. And when I went to sell it, it turned out this thing was fucked. It had bodge repairs, and I'm not blaming Andy Ride Southern Spain. It was the person he bought it off, because I know the whole history of how, and he just kept it over here while he was in Spain.
Yeah, of course.
So this guy he bought it off had done a bodge repair. Water had got in to the roof, soaked all the sides, all the insulation, all the roof. I didn't realise, and then the guy come to look at it, he was like, mate, his working moisture meter nearly had a meltdown. Then he pulls back like this, the seals from around the windows and water dripping in. Then he showed me above the cupboards. He goes, look at the mould. He goes, feel it. And I felt it. And it was like mushy. I was like, why didn't I notice that? And what I paid 26 grand for 8 months before, I had to sell for 10 grand.
Wow.
It's the biggest loss I'd ever had. But why I'm saying I was grateful for what happened with the divorce and the mental health is because before that had happened, I would have been fucking devastated, angry, on the warpath, blah, blah. And you know what? The next day I was like, oh, well, it's only money, fuck it, don't care.
Yeah, I had a similar situation with a camper van where I'd got one from Fort William, actually. I took a punt, and it was climbers were living in it in Fort William, like a conversion. And I brought it back, got it really cheap, MOT'd it, and I put it through an MOT myself, but I realise now the local garage that did it through, there was like a bit of a mate, he didn't really look at it. He was like, yeah. MOT'd it. What are you doing with it? I was like, I'm going to do it up and everything. And I think his brain was like, he used to be an alcoholic. So I think his brain was like, well, he's going to do it up anyway. I'll pass it. And then a year later, I went to sell it and I went to put an MOT on it and it needed about 1,500 quid worth of stuff. God. And you were like, fuck, it was completely rotten underneath. It needed welding. And I was like, I've been driving around with it. I had my daughter in it. It's mad, isn't it? You know, it's it's one of those. How did Todd and your daughter and that take with the divorce?
Absolutely fine. Because at the time, obviously, he was like 18. Purdy was 17 16 and 18. Sorry, they're pretty switched on, and they were just like, well, we could tell you, Mum weren't really getting on.
Yeah.
I don't think it really affected him. Todd's got his own life.
Has he moved out then now?
He stays most of the time at his girlfriend's, and like he's going in another year. He's going in another week off to all the European rounds.
Right.
He's away for a couple of months. So he's just like traveller.
But yeah, that's the main thing, isn't it? Like you worry like how it affects.
Yeah. So
how it affects them. It's such a tricky. When you go through
really
divorce,
worried about that
because you become so obsessed with each other. Like you can become so obsessed with each other, fighting over things. You lose sight of the bigger picture, don't you? It's natural. You see it so often with a lot of people. So with the sort of hallucinogenic pathway, is that what got you then into more health supplementing?
Yes. Well, I've always sort of trained loosely. Tried to be fit, but I've never been in really good shape. Always had a bit of a belly. Not like really fat.
I'm struggling at the minute. I had an accident. I broke my back last year, and I've never put on so much weight. And all of a sudden, I'm really struggling to get it off. Because you get to a certain age, don't you? And it's
and the older you get, the harder it is. So
I've just started doing creatine, so I'm really bad at supplementing. I don't know where to start. So I started like just basic vitamin D recently, like over the last year or so, and then I've just started putting creatine.
Vitamin D is probably your most important one, which during COVID they should have been fuck the jabs. They should have just been giving people vitamin D. Sunshine. You know, immune system.
It's no surprise it spikes in the winter, isn't it? When
so I do loads of supplements. I've been working a lot over the years with Lean Greens. They support me.
Yes,
which is
I've
great.
Seen that. Yes, yeah.
Try and go through them.
Are you like a healthy eater?
Most of the time. Yes,
that's what I
eat. A
like
lot of meat, a lot of eggs. Fried veg. I don't worry about cholesterol like mainstream media tells you should.
No, I'm not a big fan.
Because there's a lot of stuff, real butter and stuff like that. A lot of stuff coming up about cholesterol now. How lack of cholesterol can actually be the cause of dementia, because you know a lot of your brain is made up of cholesterol, and if you're reducing the cholesterol,
what's the? Oh, I've got to get this right now. The French call dementia or Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, don't you?
That's the new thing.
That's the thing, because essentially it's an insulin resistance that's causing a lot of this thing. So we've got to and that's, people say you've got to be careful. The problem is we demonise sugars because we think it's us that's putting the sugar. We think it's the sugar you're putting on your cornflakes that's the problem. Actually, it's the sugar that's in bread.
It's the refined sugars.
Well,
and then, you know, in a way you can't win, because then you look at replacement of sugar like aspartame. I mean, it's terrible for you.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
So Nicola she's got her own gym in Devon, and she's a PT. So she looked at what I was doing, training 3 times a week, and she goes, "This stuff's so old fashioned. What you're doing?" She goes, "I can do you something twice a week. You'll get way fitter, way stronger."
Oh, really?
and she did me a program. It was hard, and it still is hard, you know, and it's a lot of these multifunctional program stuff, you know, one-legged, whatever, squats and this, that, and the other, and the difference it made. So I'm on the supplements. If someone says to me, if you want to get in good shape, I'd say fasting is a big thing.
I've started fasting, so I usually do. I had something this morning because I was up early, but I usually try to go to like 12, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I haven't eaten yet.
Yeah,
I'll have if we go riding a bit, I'll have just like a talk energy bar before we go riding. Then I'll eat properly later. But 2 meals a day instead of 3.
Yeah.
Have cheat days, because your life is, you can't keep it up if you do it
I think it's demonising. So I don't know who he is now, but I think he's gone now, but he was like a YouTuber or something. He used to do a lot on food. And it's that thing of people go, when you live your life on the road, nipping through McDonald's drive-through, you demonise it. You're like, fucking hell, have a McDonald's. But actually, if you just have 6 nuggets, it's not that bad. You know, it's what you have from McDonald's. You can have, like I've had veggie sticks on there, nuggets or whatever. But like, don't beat yourself up if you do have a dirty burger.
Just occasionally,
because you've had it. But what happens is you hit the fuck it button, don't you? And then you go off the wagon almost.
I love my coffee, and because I work hard, you know, a lot of my work's very physical, and I train a lot, and blah blah blah. I use coffee a lot, like a tool. It's quite often before I go to the gym. And one of my little cheat codes that people might want to know: if you want a decent-ish coffee, I say ish.
Yeah.
Strong coffee that's cheap, go to Mackey's and get espresso and a flat white. It's I think it's £3.18 for the 2,
right? Or
£3.80 if you have a double espresso, and that'll blow your mind,
right? And
then go to the gym, and it's like it tastes strong. It's quite nice. So I go to Mackey's quite often. And I'll have stuff
have
like
a coffee.
I only have a Mackey's if it's quite often like after racing or something as a bit of a treat.
Yeah, it's just the demonising thing. There's a lot of people that probably aren't as active as you and I and people, and they are on. They're kind of trying to get fit. And what happens is they're on the road. Lorry drivers, people like that. Yeah. They're on the road, and then they put in the services, and there's nothing there to be healthy. So they have a Subway or a Mackey's or a KFC, but then they just think, oh fuck it, I've had a KFC. So then they have a chocolate bar. Then
I don't snack now.
Yeah,
if I do snack, I'll get things like nuts.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you want the most successful way of losing weight, so lately I got in pretty good shape, but I was still like a stone that I couldn't get rid of. I was trying my hardest, I was doing all this stuff, and I was good at the gym, etc. So I started looking at these peptides.
I need to research them.
And I did some research, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the things like semaglutide and what have you.
Right.
Because when you look at the downsides, you know what the doctors are giving people now.
Yeah.
What people are doing is just taking it, and they're not exercising, and then they're going like these scrawny people. But what a lot of this stuff like semaglutide and Manjaro, it's also decreasing your muscle mass, and it's decreasing your bone density.
Thin legs have become the giveaway, hasn't it?
So
there's so many women I see that have done it,
and they look horrendous.
They
look older,
but because they're not curing the thing that got them there in the first place, and so it's not a fix.
So
it's not a long-term
fix. Add it. You have to add that to training, to eating properly, to your fasting, to your supplements. And then I'm not trying to say this like I know what I'm on. I listen to various people.
Yeah.
Trying to remember the name. Dr. Andrew Huberman.
Right.
I can't remember. There's a few anyway.
Yeah.
Quite often in the older days, these guests that Rogan would have on who know this shit. And so my mate got in touch because here's one. If you want to try these things, try these peptides. There's a new one called retatrutide.
Right.
So I got that. It was 180 quid for 10 weeks. Little injection in your stomach once a week. And I lost a stone. It was gone.
Wow.
And I felt a bit sicky at first, but then I drunk loads, and when I was drinking my talk drink with the electrolytes in, it got rid of the sicky feeling, because it's like your appetite's gone. It's so fucking weird.
It's such a trick. I'd love to. I think I'm almost scared of all that stuff.
You go the other way. Yeah. You go to a point where it's like you have to force yourself to eat, and it gets a bit weird. And it was hard training at the gym and on that stuff, because you're always in calorie deficit.
Were you quite weak, lightheaded, that sort
for
of thing?
a bit? Yeah, and I one thing I have got is I've got very strong willpower.
Yeah. You've got to be all in if you're going to do something like that. I think this is the problem with the Manjaro stuff. Is you've seen a lot of people just see the weight loss and it's a fashion thing.
Yeah, and they're not doing anything else. They're just taking that.
They're just taking that. Yeah. And I think that's why I've never done it, because I think there's probably a little bit of fear that I'd have to really go all in and research all of it.
Yeah.
And be super, super sure. Probably even worth speaking to some experts and getting a consultation or something, isn't it?
Gary Brecker, that's the other guy to listen to. So Gary Brecker and Andrew Huberman, they're like the gods on all that sort of stuff.
Wowzers.
So going back to when I moved out and I was in the motorhome, the one night, it was New Year's Eve, we met Becky Skelton for a drink in Llangollen.
Okay.
Got pissed. That's the last time I got pissed. Last time I had a drink.
How long ago was that?
And I felt a year and a half ago.
Really?
And I felt like shit the next day. It brought the depression back on. And I was like, I don't need a drink. I've never been a drinker. So that, I think that's the other thing, if you want to lose weight, is drinking's terrible, because it's,
it is. It's empty calories.
It's just empty calories and it's poison.
Yeah,
you are poisoning your body. I know.
And then
your
next day, if you have a glass of wine, or if you're drinking a few glasses of wine, or you've got a drink culture, then it's depressive as well, isn't it? So you end up not just mentally depressive, but the next day you're not feeling up to go for a swim or the gym or walking the dog or anything, whatever it is you normally do, you're just not doing it, and it becomes this cycle of just it's instead of marginal gains, it's marginal losses, isn't it?
Yeah, so. and then at night, I'll do a bit of THC oil, like a bit of weed oil that helps me sleep, and it's good for my arthritis.
Yeah,
and it's good for stops.
I've had the CBD drop.
CBD, yeah. I had CBD originally because I started getting a bit of anxiety, and I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with me? Something wrong with my heart?" And I went and spoke to someone. They were like, "You got anxiety?" I was like, "What? Don't be silly." And then that completely stopped it, and I haven't had it ever since.
I don't think I ever realised what anxiety was.
No, I didn't.
I think up until probably the last few years, I thought I'm not an anxious person. And then when I've realised all these little moments in my life, back in the 90s and the early 90s, nights before a race when you couldn't sleep, you go into a race and it would never be, I never had a race that I was nervous. I've done a couple of BMX World Championships. I've done some big races. And I've been the night before a massive race, a national, I've been fine. And then I could go and do a mini Enduro, and I'm nervous as hell. And I'm thinking about the track. Yeah. But I always just went, I'm a bit nervous. It
makes you feel tired, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous, I can't sleep. And you'd be up all night, waking up every hour thinking about racing. And I look back now and go, that's anxiety. But you don't realise what anxiety is and how it works.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It can take your breath away, and it can make you feel awful. And it's quite good we talk about it now. I think it's gone a little bit too far the other way now that people can't shut the fuck up about all these problems.
Well, the victim culture's slipped to doing my head in a little bit.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
where everyone's got a label. It's almost like it's like joking about being vegans. How do you know vegan? Because they'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone introduces themselves as I'm ADHD now. It's not I'm Andy, I'm Jim. It's I'm ADHD, and you're like, nice to meet you, ADHD.
Well, what's the biggest mental conflict? Biggest mental conflict for anybody would be if they're a vegan who does high rocks. I mean, which one would they tell you first? You know what I mean? So basically,
well, you'd know the high rocks because they'd put 15 stories on Instagram.
Yeah, and they'd have no top on. my missus actually, as a PT, says high rocks is really bad for you.
Really?
It's overworking ligaments and
wow.
It's because you're.
It's
doing
just the
things,
next thing, isn't it? It's participation. Yeah. So the
it's
people
that make CrossFit, isn't it?
Yeah, the people that make money out mud runner, wolf run, CrossFit. It's a participation thing, and then it runs its course.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like mountain bike racing is guilty of that.
Enduro, especially. Enduro seems to be have run its course now.
Yeah, I think gravel racing, I'm been helping out the guys in gravel and the great events, but I see that's the same path because you've not got the spec. No one's turned up to an Enduro race paying £10 for parking just to go watch.
Yeah.
or paying 50 quid for a ticket to go watch.
Not like downhill.
Yeah. Talk about that actually. What's the, because you've done probably more enduro racing than anybody I know really, apart from probably Tracy and people like that who bangs that drum.
I've probably done more events than her because I got all the little ones. She just did big ones.
She just does the big
ones.
So
the great thing about YouTube is that I can get free races because it's like an advert for most of them, unless it's like a charity one like PTs or something like that.
I must admit, and you've got to buy one because you can't get your ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really remember the last time I paid for a race, if I'm honest.
Something like Hard Rock, I'll just message Joe, can I have a ticket, and he'll sort me out.
Right,
And I've done, apart from last year, I've done every Hard Rock.
How do you find Hard Rock?
I loved it until I went e-bike, and I don't think it's very well, I say not well made, it's not very well suited for e-bike, because every track isn't quite steep enough.
Right.
So you're over the motor, but it's not steep enough that you are, except for the odd gnarly bits that are fun. Yeah. You're battling that shut off on the motor.
Do you think it's the challenge that people would make out it was years ago? Do you know what I mean? But when
it's still tough. Yeah. I mean, I've done it, 5 times without an e-bike, and I've, and it's like 40 odd K every day, and it's still tough. And I did it. Oh, I fucked up.
Tweedlove was always the one that got me.
Yeah.
The big national champs won it in us and stuff. That was a big old race. But when you start in Peebles, and you have to ride that far just to get to the first stage.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I got a good Hard Rock story actually. So 3 years ago, maybe, I took Sonny with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll get you an entry to Hard Rock, don't worry. And I got him an entry. And we're like, let's do both days. Let's do Saturday. I think it was 2 years ago. So let's do Saturday on the pedal bikes, the main event.
Yeah.
And then let's do that other next main event, whatever it is, on the Sunday on the e-bikes.
Yeah.
And so we did it, and I'd never got a podium at the Hard Rock, and I was like, I'm fucking getting one this year. I really want to get one in the Grand Vets.
On the Ebe, is this?
On the pedal and Ebe.
Oh, right, okay.
So I took Sonny with me. I got on the podium both days and knocked me off it. So he was second to Steve Pete, and then I think I got fourth.
So if you hadn't took him,
so I'd have been third. And then on the next day, I was fourth, and he was third on the e-bikes. And I was like, for God's sake. So, that one really bit me in the arse.
It happens though, doesn't it? So what you say, Enduro's kind of dying. Do you think it's salvage? I mean, there's still some events.
Well, downhill seems to be coming back in.
It's massive, isn't it?
Loving downhill again. I've just sent that downhill bike of Todd's, which I inherited, back because just not enough use for it for me. I can't be fucked.
You've stopped racing, haven't you?
I'm still doing the odd event. I'm not like I was. My peak was last year and the year before. I don't want to try and sound like I'm bigging myself up because you've got to remember this is the over 50s category. Still quite competitive, but so there's a few things I've always wanted. One is national champion, which I got last year, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then the year before I won the Welsh Enduro overall.
Yeah.
And then I was second in the British overall, and that chuffed me. Just because, when I was younger and we used to race in the old days, I'd get the odd podium in the Masters or Seniors, but I've never been that good a rider, and I've got better at riding as I've got older.
I've definitely got better.
Because of riding with the kids, I
just think you do get better riders. The body itself, the energy levels.
Yeah.
So I'll ride with some guys, Scott and people, and pro riders and stuff. You Deeks or whatever. You go somewhere and you'll ride with them, and I can keep up with them for 30 seconds.
Yes.
And I mean size of this. I can ride as fast as the pro riders for one section. The problem is their consistency. You'll make a mistake on a corner.
Never drop the ball, do they?
Yeah, you'll make a mistake. You go, it's that thing of you'll hit a corner slightly wide, or you'll cut, or something will happen, and you'll break a bit. You're like, oh shit! And then they've done 3 bike lengths, and then a bit further down again. By the time you get to the bottom, they're a minute on you.
And I ride a lot worse when I'm with a very good rider.
Yeah,
the mental thing I've got where if I go and I'm filming and I'm behind someone who I know shit at, I'll go to pieces.
Yeah, I do, because you overthink everything.
Yeah.
And it's that thing of I always struggle following. But they'll make a mistake in a corner, and it's like it doesn't faze them. They'll just stay on the gas and they keep going. And it's just that's the difference. I can remember doing a few of Parsley's races and some of the guys from Trailhead and stuff. I forget what his name was now, but it was a really quick rider that used to ride for them. And I'd practice all the gravity enduros with him, and in practice, section by section.
Rich, was it? Was it Rich?
I forget what his name was now. My brain. I remember in practice we'd go out together, and I'd practice each segment, and I'm like, I'm on him all the way down, and then come the actual full stage, he just never makes a mistake, and I'm making 4 or 5 mistakes. That's what it's like
riding with Stu. Stu's a slow practicer. And then he'll get him on the race run, and he steps it up a gear and smokes everybody. He's so good at that sort of thing.
So, what do you think? What do you think the problem with endurers then? Where do you?
I think the biggest problem now is cost of everything.
Is it?
You know, you got like this fucking war going on. You've got fuel problems. You got this, that, and the other, and expense. Everything's getting expensive in the UK. We're absolutely ripped off on fucking everything.
Yeah.
And then people are going, well, do I want to spend 90 quid to ride my bike when I can go and ride it for free?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, why? Everybody, at the first, Enduro was like, oh, wow, it's like what we do. But anyway, but it's against the clock and it's 40 quid. I'll give it a go.
Do you think there's a culture as well of the next generation coming through aren't as keen for racing? Like
they just want to do
for
clips.
Us, everybody wanted to do.
They just want to do clips now. You go riding with Todd and his mates, and they'll just stop and do clips. They don't care. Don't care about Todd said to me something that really stuck last year. Like he gave up racing, and I said, "How come you don't want to race anymore?" And he goes, "Because when you race, you're only ever happy if you get a good result, like the podium." He said, "Otherwise, you're disappointed." Or you're nervous or whatever.
Yeah.
He said, whereas if you just go out riding, every time you ride, you're having fun and you enjoy yourself.
The risk versus reward isn't big enough. Unless you're the top dog, it's just not worth it, is it? No. It's interesting. I wonder what the future of the industry and everything, because it seems like we're in a bit of an arms race with e-bikes, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've got an idea of what I think it's missing, but it's whether they can make it work with how powerful all the motors are getting. So I think the thing that's missing from e-biking, and the reason obviously I talk about e-bikes, A, I do it, and B, it's getting so popular you can't deny it now, is extreme cross country. So like hare scrambles, what I was doing on the motorbike, so say you'd have a lap of however many miles, and you'd have a bit of gnarly uphill, loads of nice downhills, bit of this, bit of that, very testing, and then you'd ride for an hour, you'd race for an hour, all in a load of you all go off the line together, and it'd be the person who's done the most laps.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's really lacking. I mean, I know they've got e-bike cross country abroad, but it's not quite the same.
It's a funny one, isn't it?
But the problem with that at the moment, if you're on something with an Avanox 2 motor, you're gonna fucking smoke people who are on say Shimano with 85 Newton meters.
You've got to be on Bosch or Avanox, and it's not just the motor, it's the batteries, isn't it?
And then people will chip them. The Avanox can also be tuned now. A lot of people don't realise you can put them up to 150 Newton meters.
That's what put me off. So I did an e-bike race when I was last time I probably saw you, other than the Mulvers. It was at Forest of Dean. I had done one for ages, and I'm not the slowest. I'd be like top 20. If I gained top 20, and I was like second from last. Okay, I had a bit of an off on one stage, but it was a top stage. It was really muddy, boggy, and there was a top stage where it's really pedally. And I was watching people go over it, and I'm thinking, their bikes, that's not topping out at 17 mile an hour. They're almost wheel spinning. I'm like still plodding through all the mud, even in turbo mode. And I just thought to myself, then I thought, some of these are fucking, because I was watching the same guys, it was on like the Y2K, where you've got that like right hand of the drop and into the chute.
Yeah.
They're getting off and carrying the bike down there, and I'm riding that flat out, or riding that at a decent pace. I'm thinking, well, how can he be carrying it down there? And I was thinking, how can he be carrying that? And I'm fucking... like, he's carrying his bike down sections I'm riding.
The trouble is, it's obvious when...
They're making it on those flat pedally bits.
When you look at the results, it's obvious when people have got chip bikes.
Really?
De-restricted, because they'll smoke you on the pedally bits. Yeah. And then you'll annihilate them on the gnarly stuff. But because those pedally bits are so long, they can then beat you in the race.
There's like 20 seconds. They make up 20 seconds.
And there's still a lot of races out there where they're not really checking these things.
Well, how do they check? I spoke to Chris Roberts about it, and he's just like, "What do I do? How do I check it?" Like, you can jump on their bike, but now they can just press an app and it turns.
I think the only way they can do it is but it's costly. Is you need a speed gun, and you need secret sections where they don't know where you are, where the people are, and they're speed trapping you. But they'd have to do it where you don't know where they are.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's like the old days. Remember the Welsh dads? Used to call the Welsh dads when the Welsh dads used to be in the dragons hiding and then be like pulling the tape apart.
Yes, I remember that. Right, we're riding for a certain shop. Say no more.
But yeah, it's it's interesting. No, the bike industry, it does seem to eat itself a little bit at the minute. I think you and I were talking about last time. Everyone just kind of sucks each other off a little bit in some aspects, don't they? No one kind of is trying to change anything or do anything different. It's all about social media.
Everyone's trying to do the right thing, which I find annoying. People won't step outside of that comfort box. And it
was made in people being a bit edgy, wasn't it? And doing our own thing and stuff like that. So,
oh mate, if I wasn't sponsored by certain brands, my videos would be wild. I'd be like, what's it like to ride on fucking magic mushrooms or something like that? Would be hilarious. You could do a video on every drug.
I don't know if I could do that, but I thought about doing I'd love to be well funded where I didn't have to. I could be a bit more honest with reviews, but then saying that, I am pretty honest with reviews anyway. It's quite interesting actually. Most of the companies that are decent, they know that you're going to have to do pros and cons. Yeah, you know, because whatever, if you take an e-bike and it's a half-fat bike, you're not going to say this bike's great for an all day in the Peak District. Do you know what I mean? So, so you have to do the pros and cons and be honest. And I think authenticity, that's the main thing. Yeah. So one thing I think that steadied me well over the years is I've never tried to copy anything or anything else I've done. I've just been authentic and do your own thing, because I think everyone sees through the bullshit.
I don't watch enough stuff to be able to copy. I don't watch anything really.
Do you know what? I'm the same. I've only just started watching a few of Matt Jones' videos because there's a couple like the Woburn stuff, because I quite like the build stuff and everything, and the stuff he's done with his pump track in his garden with his kid. But like, if you'd have said to me, like Matt Jones' video, the first video I watched was the one where he did that, like a backflip onto a post and then a front flip off.
Yeah, I watched that one,
And that's probably in the last couple of years. It was insane. And don't get me wrong, I love Matt Jones. I think what he's doing is mega. He's got a fucking computer game, for Christ's sake. Jesus Christ, he's got
He's made it.
He's absolutely made it, hasn't he?
He's like the dream.
Him and John are great.
But unfortunately, they've got a lot more skill than us.
Yeah, and listen, I always get pissed with them when we go to Melvin's and stuff like that. But yeah, he's tapped into that kid. He's tapped into the right market. He knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. You know, I think me and you aren't going to do that.
No. I just want to be the oldest bastard still out there riding.
Yeah, I think that's my goal as well. Just keep going to the wheels fall off.
Going. Yeah. I think there's still a lot more to come from Penn. Very well sponsored, and I have ditched all the crappy stuff. I won't promote anything crappy just because it's free now.
No,
you know, I only promote the nice stuff. There's
a brand recently, like a year ago, just over a year or so ago, he gave me some stuff and they wanted me to review it, and I never did it, and he kind of kicked off it because I said it wasn't anything major, it was just some like a repair kit thing. And the reason I didn't is because I couldn't come up with a video that suited it.
Yes.
And I said, like, I can only do this if I do it. I can't just do a bullshit, oh, this is great and I think it'll work really good. I've got to be able to do it and test it and work it. And I couldn't do that. And I said, if I can't do it properly, I'm just not going to. And it still sat on my shelf. And one day what will happen is probably the next year, a repair, I'll have an opportunity to use it properly. I'll use it, then I'll do a video, and the guy will just have this random video. I don't want nothing for it. And I wasn't just taking something for free because it sat on my shelf. I've never used it, but it's equally, I can't make something.
You don't want to fake it, basically.
I don't
want to fake it either.
Yeah.
We're very lucky. We picked up some amazing brands who look after us. Especially Orbea is just
been a big one, that has, isn't it?
Orbea has been amazing. Like, this is, my fourth Orbea bike now. Fourth e-bike, and
one of the most exciting brands that I like at the minute. So yeah,
and they got something coming. I'm not allowed to say, but
every time I speak to you, say there's something coming. I can't tell you.
when the next model comes out, that's going to be different to everything else, how it's done.
Well, the Rallon thing with all the adjustability
that's mad, isn't it?
is mad,
the Rallon
yeah.
RS, I think it is.
Oh, it's crazy.
That's a wild bike.
Well, we'll leave it there, I reckon.
Okay.
I think, speaking about bikes, let's go and do some riding and get some footage. What is it? At Pinned TV? What's
UK. At Pinned TV UK, and just put Pinned TV in your search and it'll come up.
Wicked. Cheers, dude. Nice one.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Brilliant.
Cool. Wicked. That's...